Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. 97.5 The Fanatic's $1,000 gift card giveaway.
All right, time now for the Fanatic's $1,000 giveaway. Your chance to win $1,000 gift card to anywhere you want. The key word today is amount. That's right, the word amount, A-M-O-U-N-T. 3 ways to play it. You can text the word amount to 45911. You can enter the keyword amount on the Fanatic app and at 975thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic's $1,000 giveaway presented by American Standard HVAC Contractors. To find a dealer, visit AmericanStandardAir.com. One person selected at random will win. Get complete rules for this company-wide contest at 97.5thefanatic.com. Once again, the keyword is amount. Good luck.
It's time now for Cuz Radio.
What up, Cuz?
Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
Talking with the Cuz.
Yo, Cuz, how you doing?
Stairs rips one into the night.
Stolen by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Look, Cuz, don't even try it, okay?
Now here's Anthony Gargano.
Why don't you get the hell out of here, Cuz?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to all across the Delaware Valley. This is a business day today. Today's about business. We're live from Chickies and Pete, South Philadelphia, right on Packer Avenue. And it's time now to talk Flyers hockey. That's right, Flyers hockey. You know, I'm sick. I really am. I miss the Flyers. I miss the Flyers being relevant. I miss them in my life as a kid that grew up in this area. As a kid who was a 4 for 4. Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. That was it, right? We lived it. We lived our teams. And the Flyers, I was thinking about them the other day and how they have given us so much joy. They've given me, all right? As a 50-year-old man, so much joy over the years, right? You know, I go back when I'm real little, and the lure of the bullies, right? The lure of all the cup teams and how hockey, changed what we felt about in Philadelphia, how we looked at ourselves. Remember, one of the things about the Stanley Cup, and it's important to know the history, because we've always had, I think, almost a self-confidence kind of issue in this town, always. And so for years and years and years, we didn't win in sports, right? You had the 60 Eagles, and this is long before I'm born, right? And you can just go back to the annals, right? 60 Eagles, you go to the Sixers in the 67, and you had nothing really. Everybody else was, Phillies were horrible, right? They had the big collapse in 64. The Eagles, after 60, really didn't do anything. They were bad. When the 70s come around, they're just awful. The Sixers set a record for losing. They stink, right? The town is always the subject of the butt of a joke. And so, we looked at ourselves with not a lot of pride was going on in Philadelphia. And then hockey comes on the scene. The Flyers franchise is born. Ed Snyder, who passed away on this day 7 years ago, when it's very important, brought back an identity. They brought an identity to Philadelphia. And as much as we curse, what it has done to us in the long term, which we'll get to, and I don't really believe that has anything to do with now. that identity helped us. It helped shape us. It gave us confidence. We became, fighters, right? Like we became the hard scrabble fighters for righteousness. And that was basically our moniker. And so all those years, man, they helped get us through and helped us win. And then, the good era comes, and it's the 70s and the 80s where all the teams are in the finals. And, we have our identity as a sports town. And the Flyers, 85 against Edmonton, 87 against Edmonton. They were an amazing team. Even though they didn't win, they were, a great team. They lost to the dynastic Edmonton Oilers and Gretzky, and they're one of the greatest sporting events I was ever at. I've been to a million of them. One of the greatest sporting events I was ever at was Game 6, Flyers, Edmonton, J.J. Daigneault with the goal, the building and the spectrum, just to, talk about raise the roof. It was incredible. People putting Stanley Cups in the window, decorating the houses. All you could see it. South Philly was decorated all across, the city. Everybody decorated their stuff. It was a big deal. And then you go on and you get to the 90s, and there's Eric Lindros in 88, and the Flyers are reborn after a little difficult stretch, and they're back. And 88's there, and they go to the Cup against Detroit. It was a good run, and they're relevant, right? They're relevant through the 2000s, right up to that run. Now, again, they make the playoffs in the last day, and they go on that incredible run in 2010 to lose to the Blackhawks. But they're relevant for that whole, from, the whole 90s and the 2000s. They're relevant. They're a part of it. And then they have just been a disaster really ever since. You have the Giroux, and you're excited, the shift against Pittsburgh and the whole thing. And then it just goes sideways, right? Just goes sideways. And it's been a disaster really ever since that period. Shortly after the Cup run, once, Giroux gets a little older, and they could never build around him. And, obviously Ed Snyder, who was an incredible owner of the Flyers, an amazing owner of the Flyers, he had mistakes. Like the goalie was a big mistake, right? He could not find the goaltender, and he overpaid. And one of the advantages that the Flyers always had over the rest of the NHL was Ed, God bless his heart, he spared no expense. He went after players. He hired everybody. Anybody who had any kind of modicum of success had a job for life. He took care of everybody. He loved this hockey team. Built the arena, loved this hockey team. And then when he passes, and, obviously there's the Comcast, he merges with Comcast, it's Comcast Spectacor, and, which is the Roberts family, who are great Philadelphians. The issue, though, over the last, 7 years has really been you can't have a corporation own a sports team. It's just antithetical to running a sports franchise, which is a public trust. Doesn't matter who the CEO is. Everybody's got to answer in a corporation to a stock price, to shareholders, to a board. And that just goes, that's antithetical. Jeffrey Lurie doesn't have to answer to anyone. All right? Josh Harris doesn't have to answer to anyone. They have partners, but those guys are principal owners. When you think about John Middleton, and he wants to go sign Bryce Harper, he doesn't have to go ask a board. Now, again, obviously salary caps and different rules in different sports, but you get my point. When John Middleton says, I want my trophy back, that's his team. And that's his trophy. And he nurtures the Phillies. Win or lose, he loves the Phillies. The way Josh Harris loves the Sixers, the way Jeffrey Lurie loves the Eagles. They love their franchises, as we do. So we have a common interest. And so, listen, I'm proud of Comcast. It's a Philadelphia company. And it's here. It's part of the fabric of our town. So I love, Ralph Roberts, the founder, and Brian Roberts, who ushered it into this, new age. God bless them. But it's still a corporation. And they need to do the right thing and just sell the team for the good of Philadelphia. Because it doesn't matter. Dan Halferty, God bless him. He looks like a great guy, Philadelphian, ran Blue Cross Blue Shield. But let's be real here. He's a fan. He's a CEO fan. And he'll give you all that. I read every interview in The Athletic and listened to him with Glenn the other day and the whole thing. And, he put out there and he sounds like an awesome guy. And I believe that in his heart, he believes he's got the answers. Ultimately, it's a corporation. Ultimately, he's just another suit. And that's the problem. They need to liberate the Flyers. And that's just one of many, many things that we got to talk about today. This is a Flyers town hall here at Chickies and Pete's. We have 50 pairs of tickets to give away because we want you to go down tonight's game. It's the final home game of the season. It's symbolic. And we want you guys to go down and let your voice be heard at the Wells Fargo Center. Let your voice be heard tonight. It's important that you guys go down there and real Flyer fans, because you saw what happened Sunday. It's the Bruins who are having a historic season coming to town on Easter Sunday and take over the freaking building. And in case you need a reminder, Matt, can you play that cut, Matt? We want the cup. We want the cup. We want the cup. That chant resonated throughout the Wells Fargo Center by Boston fans. Boston fans who occupied Wells Fargo Center like the Romans occupied all of Europe. I mean, they came in and just took over. We got to talk about the Flyers. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a Joe on the radio. That's all I am. Just a Joe on the radio who just loves the city and loves the fan and loves these teams. So I want to hear from you. What do you do? What were the mistakes? Where do you go from here? They're bereft of real talent right now, as they are constituted. They have no shot to be relevant for years. Like, they need real talent. Unless something happens, a miracle, and they get lucky in the lottery. I mean, let's face it. They need real talent. They need a huge makeover. So today's town hall, presided by me and Chunas. Good morning.
Hey, what's up? This is a very important day.
Well, you have your jersey on, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to wear it
your 88 jersey.
when it was good. When things were good. It's great. You posted the photo, was it last night or this morning, of you in the Flyers gear when you were a kid. And remember, I did that a couple of weeks ago. I had the picture of me wearing the hat on a boat, right? And it's funny, I was a kid 20 years ago. You were a kid 40 years ago, and it really hasn't been that great, right? No matter what your age is right now, it hasn't really been great for a long time.
No.
We're coming up on 50 years since they won the Cup, dude.
Yep.
50.
Yep.
Look, I get it. It hasn't been great for the Sixers. We're coming up on 40.
Yep.
With the Sixers, I understand that, but at least the Sixers still have a shot. They have a shot. Playoffs start next week, and I still feel good about them. Or this weekend, I still feel good about their chances of actually winning something. Whereas the Flyers, I don't feel good about them getting out of this hole for a long time.
Yep.
And you got a lot of bad contracts that you're just going to have to kind of wait for to be done with, because it's players that nobody's seeking. Does anybody really want Rasmus Ristolainen?
Nope.
And the 4 years that he has left on his deal?
Nope. And they need to trade all those guys, all those veterans. They just clean house. They got to get rid of them.
Yeah, you got to start over. And this was the year that you could have done it, and you didn't do it. God bless John Tortorella, but
he's terrific. He shouldn't be the coach, though.
He shouldn't be the coach, no.
Of all years to tank, look how ridiculous. How do you have any kind of trust when you have that hire? He's too good.
He's too good.
You knew that what was going on. You needed Brett Brown 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
To come in here and tank. That's what you needed. And by the way, you finally fired Chuck Fletcher, and you do it after the trade
deadline,
hours after the trade deadline,
which made no sense.
What
makes no sense?
That's absurd.
In any sport, any organization, that makes no sense. That is a laughable move.
I mean, what do we know? I just want people to call today and let your voice be heard. If you're a Flyers fan, what do Flyers mean to you? Because it's got to be put out in the universe what the Flyers mean to you.
My past.
It does. We need to talk about how cherished they are. We got to put that out in the universe. So lots to do today. We want you to come down to Chickies and Pete's in South Philly. And, if you can go to the game, it's the last home game. You come down and see us. We got 50 pairs of tickets. And we want to give away tickets to you. We want your voice to be heard inside that arena tonight. And maybe you take a kid, maybe you take a buddy, right? I think it's important. 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. That's how you join us. We're actually going to be joined, special guest later today, David Boreanaz. A Philly kid, great actor who loves the Flyers. A big hockey guy, big hockey guy. He's going to join us. Chris Therien's going to join us. We've got some other special guests that we want to talk to. But really, it's about you. It's about you guys because it's your team. Whoever owns the team, and as much as we talked about, John Middleton and Josh Harris and Jeffrey Lurie, they are custodians of this public trust, which is your team. 610-632-0975. It's Cuz Radio with the Tunis, and we're live at Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. Let's talk about the Bet Parks app, shall we? Because the Bet Parks app has you covered for all the NBA playoffs. The playing games start tonight. Sixers Brooklyn starts Saturday, 1 o'clock. So you want to make sure Sixers
Good to see you again.
You missed me yesterday.
I did.
I had Dick Dunn with me yesterday. We got all kinds of NBA stuff all weekend long. It's a great 2 days of NBA playoffs. You can bet it on the Bet Parks app. It is fantastic. Make sure you download it right to your phone. New customers, you bet 10 10 o'clock hour brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. All right, welcome back. Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. It is our town hall today. So we urge you to tell us what the Flyers mean to you, your family. I could just sit here and all these teams, and we do this a lot, throughout the years. When things are good, we do it, right? Last time we did it was during the Eagles and what the Eagles mean to us, and we had done it with the Phillies. And, it's relevant and apt when things are good or when things are bad and they're at their low point, because it reminds us exactly what they need, what they mean to us, and how they enrich our lives. These teams do that for us. We have the Sixers starting their playoff run on Sunday at 1 o'clock against Brooklyn. One of our fine, listeners and friend of the show, our buddy Vince, says Sixers beat the Celtics, right? To which our engineer, who I won't even mention his name, is shaking his head no and goes, no way. He is the freaking devil. And when he says that, no, I get viscerally angry.
Yeah, it's the way he says it too. No, they're not. Like, he's just so dismissive.
He's a dismissive.
No, they're not.
He's such a prickly fella. Prickly fella. Yes, he is. Dick Russman. Like a
lot
bitch.
of dicks on the show.
The Flyers mean you're wearing a Flyers jersey.
Yes.
You talked about you as a kid. This is me, Tunis.
Yeah, it's awesome.
In front of the Christmas tree. I'm about 10. I'm about Mossmo's age, right? So I'm wearing a Flyers sweatshirt, white, very archaic.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's great though. It's simple. That's a Boskov special right there.
Probably got it at what was that place? Al Rainbow's on Broad Street. So this is me in front of the tree, all right? And this is my Massimo at the Flyers game.
Yeah, how about that?
All right? And you could see
the gear a little bit cooler many years later.
Right. So this is Massimo at the rink, right?
That's good.
And, again, I told you the story of we were playing NHL 23, he and I.
Yeah.
And, we always like, all right, what are we doing? Let's have a cup team. Let's go have our own Stanley Cup. What's good? Like, what team you want to be? And he says, I want to be the Edmonton Oilers. I go, Edmonton. I go, why don't you be the Flyers? He goes, Flyers. No, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I want to be my favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers. I go, your favorite team?
Yeah.
And time. What do you mean your favorite team? Your favorite team is the Flyers. That's what I told him. And he went, Flyers stink, Daddy. He gave me a look like Gruss would give me a look, right? Flyers stink, Daddy. I go, what do you mean? Listen, I know they stink right now. They do. You're not wrong. But you're always with them. No other team could be your favorite team except the Philadelphia teams. That's it. That's the law of the house. Otherwise, you're out.
Yeah, but look, I can't blame them because I told you I had that similar conversation with my father. It's like 20 years ago, right? When I was the Detroit Red Wings playing hockey on the N64. Like you had the old shirt and he's got the good gear now. I had the old video game system, the N64, and we had that similar conversation. Now the Flyers were actually good during my time. It's just, I was excited to be winning games in a hockey game on the N64, but for Moss, it's even harder. The Flyers have stunk, and they've been irrelevant. I thought that maybe the year of the bubble would be the beginning of something not special, but at least the beginning of relevancy, and that disappeared. So he's never had it in his life.
No.
That's why I said to you, thank God the Phillies made that World Series run.
No, I know.
Or he would have been Moss fan of the Astros.
Are you curious, are you the 2010 run?
Yes.
You were how old?
16 going on 17.
Like that spring where you just caught up into it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember watching games at my buddy Jack's house, who you met in Clearwater.
Yes.
And I remember at one point the power went out, and we were all losing our collective mind. Calling every other houses. Is the power's up? Is the power up there? We got to try to make it true. We got to get over there. Now this is pre-licenses, right? It's not like we had a driver's license. We were all dropped off. But I remember getting together for all those games. I remember being dropped off at the local Eating Good in the Neighborhood in Deptford to watch a game because we were cool, right? We're getting our lemonades and some boneless wings to watch the games. We did whatever we could to get together to watch those, and I miss it, man. I miss it so much, and I didn't realize when I was 16 how. I guess I'll say random that was, right? Because they won on the final day of the season. And I was at my cousin's house when that happened. I remember the shootout. I was at my cousin's house.
It's Sunday.
And we were watching and we went nuts. And then all of a sudden the playoff run started. But when you're 16, I thought that was the beginning of more, right? I got the taste of it. And I was like, okay, they'll be back next year. And they haven't been. And they haven't been close. And they've just been a mediocre team year in and year out, and that sucks.
It does suck.
Like you had Claude Giroux, and you were waiting for them to build something around him. He was a good hockey player, right? Very good hockey player.
He was.
But he wasn't that elite star that you're going to, he's going to put the team on his back, right? Like an Ovechkin. And that's fine. You build around him. And they just never did.
No.
They never got the right pieces around.
No.
And they had a lot of chances to do that.
No, they failed every which way. I mean, it's been a failure in so many ways. Just in every aspect to build this thing, every time to try to get to the modern feel, right? Talent, speed, skill. They just have failed. We haven't had a true sniper, right? I mean, think about it. We're dying for a true sniper. The way the build has come, the trades, the free agent signings have been just tragically bad.
Yeah, and then you're giving them big contracts to stick around for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you had Johnny Gaudreau in your lap, and you don't go after it. And you can make the case, all right, well, if they were going in a rebuild, they don't want somebody that good.
They shouldn't have signed Johnny G. I love Johnny Hockey.
Yep.
But if you're going to sign Tony D and the way there were deals, then I guess you had to.
You should have, yeah.
But I would have went the other way, which is in full tank mode.
Right. But they didn't do that.
And try to land Bedard, anything for Bedard. And he's not the only one. There's real talent at the top of the draft.
Right, top 5, 6 is what they've been saying, maybe 7.
Their drafting has been terrible.
Yeah, Patrick, second overall pick. Look at how that set you back.
Oh, my God. And he's not the only one. I mean, it's when you think about it, the Cam York piece, they could have had Cole Caulfield.
Yeah.
Right? They could have had Keandre Miller. Yeah. I mean, they had guys that they could have drafted, and they just missed on.
Yeah, I mean, they're where the 2008 right? They're stuck in purgatory. They're signing guys like Spencer Hawes to try to win an extra game or two.
Right.
And you're not going to win a championship with Spencer Hawes.
Yep.
You're not going to win a championship with Rasmus Ristolainen. You're not, unless he's the final piece.
I know. And it's just a shame, man. It just, and I miss him. And today, on April 11th, 2016, Ed Snyder passed away. And think about that for a second. Think about, that there is Ed Snyder who loved this franchise more than anything. And today's the day. This is the last home game of the season, and it follows what the travesty that happened Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's
Easter Sunday embarrassment.
That's not the first time they've been embarrassed inside the Wells Fargo Center. Remember the game earlier this year against the Rangers?
I know.
Where it was a sea of blue.
I know.
Rangers scored a goal, and all of a sudden you see a sea of blue, and you would think that they were in New York.
I know.
When that goal happened.
Period.
But it wasn't the case, and it's just been It's just been a mess all season long, and unfortunately, you don't see an end in sight right now.
It's just been a rudderless ship, and switching suits at the top. I know, all due respect to Dan, who I think is a great guy, and a great Philadelphian, but that's the key. I told you before. There's one of the minority partners in the Sixers, and in the Harris Blitzer Entertainment. Absolutely, he is a Philadelphian. He's a Philly kid who did really, really well, and who would be the perfect steward of the franchise, the perfect owner. He just would be the guy. He loves them. He loves Philadelphia. He's not looking to be king of the sports world. He just wants to be, have a team in Philadelphia. And he's got the Sixers. He's got a piece of the Sixers. And he would be a great owner for the Flyers and do what's right for the franchise because he loves his town. He lives here. He loves it here. He's not going anywhere.
And it's a person, right?
And he can handle it.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the kind of guy who I think we need, who has wealth and who believes in the city, believes in, building up the city, investing in the city and building that part of town. Look, one of the reasons why I just think a Center City Arena would be really cool is, and that's another subject, but, it just elevates that part of the city, which has been, terrible for years.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's been years, and you need to be, you're only as strong as your core. And I just think that would just make so much sense to bring life to that part of the city with, restaurants and bars. And, we know how we are, kind of town we are, togetherness, that whole thing. But forget about the arena or whatever. I just want
someone your team back first.
I want someone to take over the Flyers who is an individual, not a corporation, the faceless corporation, and I want someone that is going to nurture it and going to love it because we need it back. I'm sorry, Vin. I'm going to go open up the phone lines, and I want you to come back on because Vinny said sports fandom is generational, and it gets passed down to the kids. And right now, the Flyers are not getting passed down.
No, they're not.
And I just told the story about Massimo.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm sure all over the Delaware Valley, hey, a lot of Bryce Harper jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
A lot of Embiid.
A lot of Embiid jerseys. A lot of Jalen jerseys. Right? Union stuff.
Yeah.
No Flyers.
No, because who's the player that you're putting on?
No Flyers.
Right? Like, you can't even have a favorite player.
No.
Right? Think about that. Look, I know the Phillies were dreck when I was a kid, but every once in a while there's a guy that had a good season, he had a favorite player. Like, who's the favorite player of the Flyers? Like, I know Konechny's had a good year, an all right year, but last year, one of them going last year. I mean, there's not a player that you go, oh, that's my favorite.
I know.
Who, Carter Hart?
I know.
We're waiting for Carter Hart. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. I don't think it is his fault. But when is it going to be good enough where we can actually see Carter Hart be a good goaltender?
Yep.
It's great that you're losing 2-1.
Yep.
But when are they going to have a team in front of him where you go, wow, now that's the guy we've been waiting for?
I know, buddy. I know. Let's open up the phone line. Tom, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tom in Alabama. Tommy.
Yo, Ann, how you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Yo, Sal, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Tom?
Hey,
now, you're a Flyers guy. You're reporting right now. What do the Flyers mean to you, Tom?
I tell you, and I'm being really serious when I say this right now, that I wish I was there and I would take Sal Tunis and I'd go down to that town hall and I'd have a few words to say. I wouldn't raise my voice, but I would.
Well, you're on the town hall.
This is the town hall.
This is it right here. You're on it. Let me hear you.
That orange and black is my first love, okay? And that, you know what you say about your first love. 7 years old, seeing that go down, that was unbelievable. The greatest day of my life till the Eagles won that Super Bowl. And it seems like it was another lifetime ago. And it falls back to going back to always hiring someone that's been in the organization, going back 35 years to putting Hextall in there from 1987 to run it, to put a guy where the direction, they talked about Ed Snyder when he would die, we were going to win all these cups. Ed Snyder was a pioneer, and unfortunately he got old, he got sick, and he let somebody run it into the ground, and ever since that's all that's happened. But the Flyers used to be a main staple. I mean, to go to a Flyers game, which was rare for myself, I mean, it was an honor, man. I mean, to watch them guys, but them guys are gone. It's time to forget about them guys. It's time to forget about Kate Smith. It's time to forget about Gene Hart's daughter. It's time to forget about Bill Barber. And it's time to forget about Bobby Clark, who has no business being over there, okay? Clark, he's number one, okay, and that's cemented in stone as far as a Philadelphia athlete for myself. But his general manager duties, he ran Patrick Sharp off. He ran Justin Williams off. He ran Lindros off. He should have ran his damn self off. And I got to be honest, I had no clue that he was still up there with Barber. He has no business being up there. He's too old, and he's never done a good job as far as anything, as far as management and the Philadelphia Flyers organization. And I'm just putting it down straight, man.
Tommy, I appreciate your words and your passion, man. I do. I appreciate it because it is today is about passion, and it's about what you love for this team. I mean what this team means to you. And that's why we're doing this show today. This is the Flyers Town Hall. In fact, coming up, there is a guy. His family. It's a buddy of mine. His name's Ben Tunis. Ben's father was the original. These are the original season ticket holders.
Wow. Okay.
That they have had continuous season tickets since the birth of the Flyers.
Oh my God.
All right. This is what it means. All right. You got guys so Ben's coming up next. I want to talk to Ben about what this team means to him and where it's at. 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. It's Cuz Radio. Tunis. We are live at the Town Hall Center. Chickies and Pete's. That's right, Tommy Cherokee. Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. Where's my man? My man Lou is sick today. I love Lou. I love him. Hey, is your renovation plan hibernating? You're looking to plan that kitchen of your dreams. You're looking to do something with your home and do it up right with the kitchen. Colonial Marble and Granite. Oh, they're the best. That's the Papadopoulos family, great Delaware Valley people, and they will make your dreams come true. Fully installed granite countertop for just $14.99.
Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, welcome back. Cuz Radio Tunis, the Flyers Town Hall today. As we need your ideas, man. Where do we go from here? What do we do? All right, where do we begin? What do we do? Tell us what they mean to you. You're like, we got to speak out and tell us what they mean to you. And I want you to come down to Chickies and Pete's today. We got 50 pairs of tickets that we want to give out. So we have a game tonight. It's the final home game. Show up tonight and let your voice be heard. Again, 50 pairs. You want to take your kids, you want to just come on by. Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. We'll be here till 2 o'clock.
That's awesome.
All right? Let's get to the phone lines. Now, I have a buddy of mine who he's a terrific Philadelphia sports fan. His dad was one of the pioneers at NFL Films, Judas.
Okay.
And they are great sports people. And they have had season tickets from the Flyers since the birth of the Flyers. All right? Season tickets to the Flyers since the birth of the Flyers.
It's amazing.
Yes, the Ring family. Fantastic. Ben, good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Since the birth of the franchise, you guys have had Flyers season tickets.
Yeah, you got to go back to 1966 when the NHL decided to expand in 1967. And also at the same time, the planets aligned because the NFL announced that they were going to merge with the AFL and the NFL merger. And so Ed Sable, not Ed Snyder, Ed Sable at NFL Films had to expand NFL Films at 13th and Vine and hire their 13th employee. So my father was a teacher on Long Island, and he heard that he could come back to Philadelphia and join NFL Films, getting hired by Ed Sable, and decided to write to the Flyers and get in line for the new team. And he was 11th in line at the time. So now, actually, we're the longest tenured family.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. The longest tenured family now. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
for better or worse.
Well, I mean, listen, what it does, it shows you the birth of the franchise to now, what it means to your family. I'm sure, how many games have you been to? You know, I know your father started it.
I don't know. We have. My father had a coffee table in Marlton, and under the glass, he has all pictures of us behind the bench, all the new from the Bulletin, from the Inquirer. I can't even tell you how many. I should have done that calculation, how many games. But the Flyers weren't even named the Flyers. They were the Philadelphia Hockey Club. My father wrote to the president and said, "I have a great name for you to name the team, the Penguins."
No,
and they wrote him back.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the Flyers wrote back. Thanks for the name suggestion. We'll definitely consider the Penguins as the name of the team.
Oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah. I'm getting welled up listening to you today because the Flyers mean so much to our family. Like, we've had so many reunions. My sister's birthday was always there. Christmas games, we all rally. Whether the Flyers are good or bad, we always go to the Flyers game to have a celebration. And they, working at NFL Films, my father actually became really good friends with Gene Hart and ended up writing his book with him. It was called Score.
Yes.
Yeah, so Gene is a dear friend, and in fact, when he passed, his wife Sarah gave my father the Stanley Cup banner, which I later, I'm a TV producer. I was doing a show about Everest, and the one everybody brings stuff to base camp to take pictures.
Right, Mount Everest, yeah.
Yeah, flags and banners and stuff. I brought my Flyers Stanley Cup banner that the Hearts gave us.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is fantastic.
Yep. And then as a producer, I was developing shows The first show I ever developed was for Banyan Productions in Philadelphia. I don't know if you're familiar, Ray Murray's company.
I love Ray, yeah.
Yeah, I developed a show called The Things We Do for Love, and it was showing how far people would go to express their love for one another. And we had this young woman who wanted to honor and surprise her sister, who was recovering from opioid addiction. And we asked her, we said, "Well, what's the biggest surprise we could give you?" And she said, "If you could get her a one-on-one with Eric Lindros," and this was in his prime in 1998. And so I'm like, I'll try. So I called Zach Hill, the PR guy at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "We're doing this pilot. Can you help me out?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." So we had on the show this young woman and Zach Hill conspiring to build a surprise for her sister. And we pulled it off. It was a one-on-one in the locker. We told her, we brought her to Voorhees and said she got to watch a practice, but we had her in the locker room, and then Eric came in and surprised her and talked to her and hugged her, and she was bawling. So we did a
What a great moment! That's fantastic. I would love to see that. Can you tweet that out or? I mean, that's incredible.
I'll try. Yeah, she was bawling. So we took the sales tape up to Lifetime TV in New York, and the show sold for 65 episodes. And that was the first show. So the Flyers helped me out there too. So the Flyers are a huge part of the family.
Oh man, the Flyer family. When I think about that, because that was the one thing that they always connoted was family, right? The Flyers family was known. They were known as that. And it was just like they were always out and about, man. I can remember the Tocchet, Zezel and that team, and being around town, and of course, the older guys being at Rexy's for years and putting that place on the map, and they were just a central part of the community.
Yeah. And I skated for the Gladiators in Voorhees, and we'd get our ice time at like 5 a.m, and I showed up one morning at 5 a.m, and all the Flyers were there. I was like, "What the heck is this? Why are they coming to our game?" And it was the morning Pelly pass. He had crashed a few hours. Yeah. So we were there with them at our facility that morning, and that was like, as a young kid, that was very
it was horrible. I remember that. I remember finding out. And back then, it was before social media, and it was pre-digital age. And when the news, when you found out, you're like, no, it was horrible. It was gut wrenching.
Yeah, that was pretty eye opening as a kid to be there with them that morning.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, that's horrible. Ben, listen, we need them back, man. We need the Flyers to be relevant. I was telling the story that my son Massimo, we're getting ready to play NHL 23, and he says he wants that be his favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers. No, that can't happen, Ben.
No, that can't happen. But I think you have the right idea. You need like a singular owner. Ray Murray used to say at Banyan, because in all the towns and all the cities, there are no statues, 2 committees. You need one guy, to run that organization and have passion for it. Like Ed Snyder mortgaged everything to get that franchise. It meant everything to him. Like, we need somebody like that.
Amen, brother. Amen. God bless you, Benny. Listen, I need more stories at some point. You got to tell the NFL film stories one day, okay?
Yeah.
So I can get you back to do that.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Benny. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
there
man.
he is, my friend Ben Ring. He was fantastic. The oldest continuous family season ticket holders, Jim.
That is amazing.
Ain't that
and
wild?
I give them a lot of credit for still going.
Yeah.
I really do. They're Flyers fans through and through, and it's sad what they have to see on a nightly basis. It's sad what everyone has to see on a nightly basis. I have a tweet that I want to read to you from our man Matt Caddyshack. He tweets the show pretty frequently. He goes, "Because the Flyers have been so irrelevant for so long, I can't even give input on how to improve the team because I simply haven't been paying attention."
Yeah, and that tells you something. That speaks volumes.
Oh yeah, big time.
It speaks volumes. All right, Tunis. By the way, some interesting news. So good news. The EPL will be playing matches at the Link in Philadelphia. So that's really cool. In July 22nd, 23rd, the EPL comes to the Link.
Yeah, we'll see Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I know there's a lot of Aston Villa fans out there as well. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. The Link's got some stuff coming up. We got EPL. We got WrestleMania next year.
Dude, that's very cool. It is. We'll talk more about it. Look at that. Here's a Flyer fan right there. You want to go to the game tonight? That's damn right, Eddie. Eddie Wright, my man. Love it. Tuners, open the vault.
You know, when we began opening this vault nearly 2 hours ago, we had no real idea what we'd find inside. As it turns out, we haven't found very much.
Well, as you can imagine, the vault today, heavy Flyers from the good old days, but unfortunately it's also going to sound ancient because the good old days are
grayed and yellowed.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, the good old days, and it's a shame that it's been this long. But let's try to relive the glory days of the Flyers when they were the Flyers, not what we see in front of us today. So we might as well start with the big ones. 1974-75. Go ahead, Matty. Let's go back to back because the Flyers went back to back Stanley Cups in 74 and 75.
15 seconds after the game. 10 seconds. Aaron shoots it down the ice. Watt makes the save. Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers have won the Stanley Cup.
Kindrachuk blocks it, and it comes to the near side. Kindrachuk back to Clement, a breakaway. He scores! Bill Clement for a case of tasty cake, and it's 2-0 Flyers.
Awesome.
Clement mobbed
awesome.
by his whole bench. And for Bill Clement, who sat out Sunday's game, that's his first point of the playoffs. And it comes at 17-13. Kindrachuk gets an assist. That's the lone assist, and for Clement, his first playoff goal, and it couldn't be a bigger one. 17-13, the time of the Flyers' second goal. It's been that kind of a series. Face-off, one. It's all over. The Flyers have won the second in a row. The Flyers have won their second consecutive Stanley Cup. Perron and Clark with the cup hoisted aloft. And there's that clenched fist of Bobby Clark saying, "Attaboy, gang, we did it again."
That was 48 years ago, Ant.
Attaboy, gang, we did it again. Wow.
And that was 48 years ago.
Jeez. That's insane.
And just a reminder, there has not been anything in between.
Oh my God.
There hasn't been, 20 years ago, they didn't win one. 10 years ago. No. 48 years ago, their last Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I remember mocking the
bittersweet right now. Listen to this.
No, I remember mocking the Ranger fans, because when I worked in New York, they used to drive them nuts that they hadn't won a cup. Was it 42? It was some ridiculous, number.
Right.
And I remember mocking them.
And now you're seeing the years pile up for us. Yep, 48 years ago. All right, let's go to 1987. Here's a moment that a lot of people like to bring up. Ron Hextall in net, scoring a goal.
The zone. Bruins come back, flip it from their side to center in on Hextall. He blocks, looks to shoot it to the open net. He has scored! Ron Hextall has become the first player in the history of the National Hockey League, the first goaltender to actually score a goal. The only other one that we've heard so much about is by Billy Smith. Well, the Bruins dumped in, and they've been saying that Hextall would be the first to do this legitimately. Took it at the left side, looked, and then flipped it down the ice with a wrist play. It bounced at the Bruin line and then rolled and trickled just inside the post as you're looking at the net to the right. Hextall on the system.
Sure, but he's in there. Wow.
The first time that's ever happened in the history of the National League.
Oh, no.
Well, that was 87. We're finally into the 90s here, Ant. We'll go with one of my favorite plays, and I'm wearing the 88 jersey today. Lindros fighting without a stick.
Down the ice it goes, no icing. Lindros barreling in. Moran, but Moran sticks it away and grabs Lindros' stick. Lindros Lindros says, you don't do that. And he thumps him into the board. Moran with a punch to the back of Lindros. Nedved comes in high on Lindros, but the Flyers get the puck. Lindros, without a stick, trying to kick the puck free. Does to Leclerc. Leclerc now to Lindros, still without his stick, controlling the puck. What work? Now Lindros has his stick back and has the puck. Lindros checked by Tamer, kicking the puck along the board. Finally knocked down. Lindros continues to work from his knees. What strength by Lindros. Tamer just can't get him off the puck. And Tamer's a big, strong guy. Or Brospel. Lindros is in the slot. Brospel moves in. There's Lindros. He scores! Oh, Brospel spotted him, and Lindros whipped it home. Power play goal.
88.
Philadelphia.
He was incredible. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What a shift. He was insane.
Yeah, fighting without the stick, man. And now I'm the one getting sad because now we're creeping into my childhood here, and it's been a long time since my childhood. All right, I'm turning 30 at the end of this year.
Yeah,
I hear you. Here you go, 2000 overtime number 5, Primo.
Richardson backhands it up. The Penguins will change it. It's able to come out relatively easy. It's Keith Primo with the first. Primo cuts the inside, scores! There it is! Keith Primo! The much maligned center of the Philadelphia Flyers wins this game in the 5th overtime. And the Flyers go back to Philadelphia with the series even at 2 games apiece.
I mean, that's huge. You don't win that, you're down 3-1. 5 overtimes. 4 years later, another overtime goal in the playoffs. This time, JR.
Austin and Picton will clear to center. And here's Roenick the other way, 2-on-1 with the body. Roenick with the puck. Roenick the shot. He scores! He goes! Jeremy Roenick sends the Flyers to the Eastern Conference Finals. Sudden death magic for JR. And the Flyers move on.
Wow. Flyers move on, dude.
Yeah. Let's go.
Dude, I remember this stuff. It's just
I know.
I'm listening to this and I'm getting choked up. I can't believe it.
Let's close it out with this one. 2004. This is a long cut here. A little over 2 minutes. We're going with the brawl. Flyers in Ottawa.
And Simpson just went in after Brashear. Now he's pounding away. Anybody can get a hold of. Here goes Patty Lalime.
Ash comes in, so Lalime comes down ice.
They're going to go.
Well, Ash won't take the mask off. Lalime does it for him. Lalime gets the sweater over top of the head of Ash, but he falls down. Now Ash tries to get another hand over the top.
This might be what the Senators needed. Now we got another one going in the corner. Looks like Sean Van Allen.
Radivojevic.
Yep, they're going. Are they ever going?
Well, Radivojevic is absorbing more than I don't think he's thrown one yet. And I think Radivojevic has been cut.
The goalie's still at it.
Van Allen falls, and that gives Radivojevic a chance. And now gradually getting players off the ice.
And Simpson's still cruising around. Look out here. Old-time hockey's back in Philadelphia.
And now we're going to get one going here. Redden and Leclerc. And in front, Smolinski and Recchi. Smolinski comes back with a couple of rakes over the top, falls, gets back up. Recchi keeps going.
That's a pretty good one going at center ice.
Now still a minute 15 to go in the third. The question will be, will either team have enough guys to finish the game?
And now Recchi points at the Ottawa Senator bench at Jacques Bartet. So things continue to heat up.
Well, I can't wait to hear the post-game media conference. The odd man advantage in the event of another fight.
I don't think anything's going to happen this time with Sammy Kapanen on the ice. Oh, yes. Oh.
Spezza now going at his man. Oh, those two drop it as Spezza comes in, and he goes down as he got tangled up right after the face-off of Patrick Sharp.
I told you, refs, it wouldn't work.
It's almost like now you don't want to be the guy who doesn't get kicked out of the game.
Well, now the Ottawa Senators are down to 3 on the bench, 3 on the ice. The Flyers down to 4 on the bench. I don't think, I've been in this business a long time. I don't think I've ever seen this. Not like this.
Dude, they used to have these brawls. I remember being a kid.
Yeah, he loved it.
Seriously, I remember being a kid. There was one, it was against the Kings. And I don't even know when it was. I just remember being a little boy, and I used to have a black and white television in my room. It was maybe, I don't know, 20 inches, right? And it had the dial. You turned the dial, like for like the UHF or the. And I remember watching the game, like sneaking watching the game, and just the brawls and the fights and it, and they had guys throwing haymakers, and it was wild. It was absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's going on in hockey. Like,
well,
really,
I know.
In general.
No,
now.
well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't bringing it back to.
Right. No, I got you.
I was just telling the story because you played that cut.
Makes you think.
And I just remember these legendary, dude, like these brawls. Like, go back to '87. We're talking about that great cup run where they just lose in Game 7 to Edmonton in the Canadian series.
Yeah.
There's the pregame brawl,
right.
dude. Pat Croce's on the ice in shower shoes.
That's awesome.
He was the trainer. It was unbelievable. Wow, great! This makes you just remember this stuff, and that's the thing. Nobody remembers.
Now, here's the thing. It makes me more sad, though.
It does. I'm sitting there getting choked up. I'm like, man, I really miss it.
Like, it's not like
playoff games, and we get the warm weather, and I love watching a hockey game in a bar, crowded bar.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because when the goal happens, that's why hockey and soccer are great. Like with like masses of people,
right? The eruption when a goal is scored.
When a goal is scored, like that eruption, it's Vesuvius. It's awesome. All right. You all right?
That wasn't me.
No, I know, but you're all right. You suddenly just.
I got sad.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, just everything.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's
been a long time, dude.
Dude, I hear you.
I was a little boy.
Yes. All right.
Starting to have like the midlife, quarter-life crisis.
Yeah, relax. 610-632-0975.
Fuck up, Tunis.
All right, 610. Did you keep everything? Do you keep all that stuff? How do you get that?
Huh?
Buck up, Tunis.
Maddie does a good job, man.
I got to look at him side-eyed.
He listens intently.
Yeah, I know he does. That sound gets me worried. Does a good job, Matt. 610-632-0975. Say reach us. So, David Boreanaz, the terrific actor who's a great Philadelphian, huge Flyers fan, he's going to be here today. His dad, who is unbelievable, Dave Roberts, who we loved from Action News 6 ABC, will be here. We're going to talk to Chris Therien. We're going to talk to Jeremy Roenick at 1:20.
Nice.
So we got lots of people. Now, if you're coming by, make sure we're Chickies and Pete, South Philly. We got tickets for you. Swing by and grab a pair, man. All right, swing by and grab a pair. We have them right now. And listen, if for some reason you can't get here, we'll try to do this and give away some on the phones too. All right, 610-632-0975. It's Cuz Radio. The game tonight's the last home game, so we want your voices to be heard. Flyers Town Hall. We're live at Chickies and Pete's, South Philadelphia. Let's talk about Meineke. Yes, Meineke has you covered, especially now when we need to make sure that our cars are healthy and can last for us. Well, right now you can. The Meineke's got you covered with a semi-synthetic oil change starting at $29.95. Full synthetic oil changes
97.5thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey.
Let me tell you about Dr. Andy. When it comes to your sleep, Dr. Andy can help, and he can help really steer you in the right direction and help you stave off a lot of serious conditions that can happen when you have interrupted sleep and sleep issues. When you wake up in the morning and you're exhausted, right? And you got a headache and it hangs on all day, and you start pumping with caffeine, you're drinking lots of coffee. Coffee kicks in, you feel good for a little bit, doesn't last long, you crash. Listen, go see Dr. Andy Cohen. Voted best of Philly for multiple years by his peers. In fact, he travels the country lecturing other doctors on the procedures and methods that he's been using for over a decade. He's a born Philadelphia guy, passionate, board certified in sleeping and treating sleep disorders like sleep apnea and snoring and all kinds of things. It's funny. I sat with him on Friday at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, and he showed me all the procedures that he does, dental appliances, laser therapy to widen your airways, whatever he has to do to widen your airways to help you sleep. And you know what? He has helped thousands of people, and they get restful, quiet sleep. It's possible for you too. Go to sleephealthypa.com. Go to this website, sleephealthypa.com. You can do a consultation with Dr. Andy. All right, trust me, man. You'll thank me. Your wife will thank me. Tell everybody. Tell Dr. Andy that Cuz sent you.
More of the Anthony Gargano Show now
on 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right. Welcome back to Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia, Flyers Town Hall. And we want to hear you. I mean, I know it's sad, depressing, right? Like, we did the vault, and people were saying, oh, man, too, this is sad. It brought us back memories. The Flyers, great players, great moments of this franchise. 7 years to the day. 7 years ago, April 11th, 2016, Ed Snyder passed away. And the last 7 years, and it's going a little bit beyond that, had just been misery when it comes to the Flyers. And they just have been non-existent. It's sad, man. It just is. And they've become an afterthought. And I hear these moments and these memories, and it just makes you want to fight for them. What do we do? We need to do something. All right? This is why we want our voices heard and what it means. Now, one of the great Flyers is on the line, and I just love him. He became a fabric of the area and just a great, great Flyer. Our man, Bundy, Chris Therien on the Comcast Business Hotline. Bundy!
What's up, guys? You know, it's funny. I was actually on Facebook the other day. I'll just say this to start off a Flyer story. And it was you, me, Martinez, and Glenn Macnow back in the final in 2010 in Chicago. You know, and those were great moments. We were doing radio shows, covering the team. And I know what you're talking about, listening to a little bit of the show. We want to get back to that feeling of community.
I remember it was like yesterday, Bundy. It was yesterday. We went out. Remember, we went out to eat, and we ran into a bunch of the Blackhawks. Remember that?
We were at that Smith and Walensky's, I think, down by the water. They were eating.
Yeah.
But then we went down to Harry Carey's. Remember that other bar in between games? And we had a great treat. And you know what? That was the best because it was really, to me, like I was out of hockey. It was my first broadcast in a couple of years, and to me, that was like the community. The feeling of unity between everybody in the city. And that's what happens when your teams do well. And we've seen it happen with the Flyers in good times. I've been a part of it as a player. I've covered it as a broadcaster. Didn't get over the top, but, got deep in the playoffs to the finals. And it just shows you how invested people are in the Philadelphia Flyers through all times, but especially in really good times.
Well, and you experienced it again, like you said, both as a player and a broadcaster, and you saw this town go wild, right? Like it's almost hard for younger people to fathom, but this town went nuts. All those playoff years, the Flyers were relevant, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, Anthony? And I've been here a long time now in the city, not born and raised like you or a lot of others, but I've had I have a close tie to like all sports teams. Like I love going to Eagles games. I'm an Eagles season ticket holder. Haven't been for 20 years. Time I've spent with my kids over the years, and I've loved that. Phillies. I mean, last year was a great run. Another team I think though it kind of is a little bit, in a way similar to what the Flyers are going through was the Sixers. Such a mess the way they did it because they almost fooled their fan base in the year saying, "Oh, we're gonna tear it down to build it back up," and everybody knew that those high picks would hopefully do something. And what's left is Embiid, and hopefully they have a good spring. But the Flyers are in that, except they don't have any draft capital, in terms of where they're at right now, and that's the biggest problem I think for the team looking forward. Now, there's a lot of things that I've seen the last few years that I find to be absolutely amazing that have really been better since 7 years ago when Mr. Snyder died. Things changed then because I think they really lost their team. And even going back to Bob Clark saying at that same year, Anthony, like Ed Snyder was the Flyers. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, whatever happened after that, there was a mantle change, and people came in and, not Ed's fault, but there was a change even 3 years before that. I said with Peter Luco, when he left, Dave Scott took over. And so there was a whole new balance and a shift of power in the dynamic in the corporate front office. And I think that they, through a little bit of their own maybe self-reflection, looking in the mirror, realized that there was something that reverberated through this community about the Flyers, whether they were good, bad, excellent, horrible over the years. They were to me, the Flyers were always the staple in the community. And that's what this group needed to get back to. On the business side, I believe that they have done that. I believe that they've turned a page in a lot of ways, are trying to get back to it. The hiring of Dan Hilferty now, to me, is going to be one of the most significant things in Philadelphia. I think it is an absolute luxury to have a guy like that working for this team now. Like as he'll be the trustee or the board of directors or the CEO, but having a guy like Hilferty who understands the fabric of Philadelphia, the sports in Philadelphia, he was a primary reason why the World Cup will be here in 4 years. I think helping with other people in the office that have been here. Valerie Camillo's not from here. She came from a baseball community, and I think there was a little bit of a learned experience on her end as well. This kind of, I think, brings it all together, and when they figure out what they're going to do with the hockey office in the front end, that's going to be the part that's going to take a little bit more time because it's really, really hard to patch everything together overnight. And you want to do it right in a sense that you don't become the Buffalo Sabres or the New York Islanders where they were irrelevant for 15 or 20 years, making the playoffs just a couple times. So that's the task because this team means too much to the community. It's a major national brand as well. It's an iconic brand, and it needs to be brought back to that full state that we've known it to be. And there's a lot of good people in place right now doing things, but they're still working.
I agree with you on a lot of things you say. My biggest issue, though, is I'm just not a believer in a corporation owning a sports franchise. I'm just not. I look at it and go, ultimately, you got to deal with stock prices and the board. Yeah. And you got, shareholders. It's just antithetical to owning a sports team. It's everything that they became a fabric of the city because Ed Snyder, singular. The Eagles are a fabric of the community because of Jeffrey Lurie. The Sixers with Josh Harris. I mean, like John Middleton. I mean, that's why sports franchises need to have a singular owner, not owned by a corporation. Because all those people, like you said, are great people, and Dan's really smart and all, but ultimately, he can't nurture it the way a singular owner can.
Well, and you know what, Anthony, I understand what you're saying because I think Philadelphians, especially with the Flyers, were treated to such a luxury with a guy like Ed Snyder, who really did adopt that, Fast and Furious family attitude, right? That's the sell. And that was part of what the Flyers' lure was, the carnival. I was so hopeful after this year's carnival because I really did see a lot of what was there from the past. A lot of those fans had come back. But, Peter Luco was a great representative of the Flyers when he was here.
Yeah.
And that ended quickly. He was the face to the Flyers that we hadn't seen. So I'm hoping that Hilferty can now be that transitional figure. Dave Scott was not that guy. He didn't understand sports at all. He did a great job with Comcast in his years as a regular business person, probably made a ton of money doing it. But hockey and sports wasn't his thing, and it was Ed Snyder that put him in there. But Luco was very much, if you go back to it, and
I know
Anthony,
Peter real well. I love Peter,
face.
Yeah, I love Peter.
So that's what I hope Dan does.
I got to ask you, because let's get back to the hockey piece of it for a second.
Yep.
See, here's the issue. Like, this was a year where, and we're talking to the great Bundy. We love Bundy, man. He really is great flyer and great part of the community. This was a draft where you could actually make a big inroad in changing the face of your franchise with the talent at the top of this draft. And it's just mind-boggling to know. You brought up the Sixers. Well, obviously, you needed to tank. I mean, what they did when they traded Ghost and had to pay first round, all those draft picks to take them. I mean, it's ridiculous what they did and how they squandered draft picks. And then you go hire Tortorella, who I like, is a really good coach, but he's going to make you better than what you should be.
Yeah, and these are all things that we said on Snow the Goalie, the podcast I'm a part of, Anthony. They're all valid points. You're right. Like I said last year in June, why would you get a Tortorella here?
Right.
Like, he's going to coach guys up, or he's going to make them more relevant than their actual talent will allow. And he did that. They probably ended up winning 6-7 more games than they should have if they would have had another coach. And in turn, you're going to end up. But again, there's another side to that, right? Like, to me, the one part of Torts was, he doesn't have any history in Philadelphia. You can say I know the franchise. You don't until you get here. And so, but one thing he's done is tried to at least instill a baseline again of a compete level, what's meaningful, important things on the ice that you have to do beyond just goal scoring. How to be a good teammate. How to compete in the hardest moments of a game.
Listen, I love the guy. I would have hired him a year later.
Yeah, but he made
that's
them
what the tank
but
this year. Go get Bedard, and then I'll go hire Torts.
Yeah, and that's exactly kind of what people had said, and what I had thought along the process was that he's going to be too good for the guys he's got here, and so listen, he's going to be here for 3 more years, and the Flyers, unfortunately, this is the one thing I do know. Go look at every single team that has won Stanley Cups in this era. Every one of them had major impacts from guys that were drafted to the top 3 in the NHL draft. Chicago with Kane and Taves, number 3 overall. Crosby 1, Malkin 2, Fleury, first overall going back. Nathan McKinnon in Colorado, the first overall pick. So every team that's won, they've had a little bit of pain, but they've also done it through the draft. And I think that's part of the patience that I don't think that Chuck certainly couldn't do. And I think that there needed to be a message, and I said this, Anthony, 3 or 4 years ago, they needed to move on from Giroux a lot quicker than they did, because there had to be a turn. You got to keep your team relevant, and you have to trade sometimes your best players to get a package back that's going to make you more relevant and younger down the road. That didn't happen. They did get a nice piece from Owen Tippett coming back. That looks like it's panned out. But there's a lot of things they need to do, and the biggest thing that they didn't do, which they now are, they need to tell the fans, this is not a winning model. We need a rebuild. We need a rebuild yesterday, and we're going to ask you for patience while we do this. The key to the rebuild now is to do it right. You have got to do it right and not rush the process. Get the good free agents you can in when they're available to you, but you have to rebuild getting high draft picks. And I wish the Flyers were possibly drafting higher than what the outlook is now. Maybe they win the lottery again like they did with the Nolan Patrick year. But then you're hitching on the hockey gods to do that favor for you. I don't like that.
Nah, because now you just you're leaving it up to chance. I agree with you. You're just leaving it in your praying. I mean, that's their problem has been just no plan. And some of the moves are just mystifying. They're drafting. They need to
those moves. Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like
Terrible.
some of their drafting, like look, you have Caulfield, like right, like think about it. You could have had him, right? You could have had Keandre Miller. Yeah, I mean they just flub picks, and then their free agent signing, they overpay for guys that made no sense. Oh, ugh. I get so frustrated.
Yeah, and then the other problem with free agency too, Anthony, and this is why you got to get it right. You don't get a good free agent unless you got a good team.
Yeah.
So there's part of that, like you're saying, like, well, you want to go get Johnny. Like, I'll be honest with you, the best move that maybe didn't happen was not getting Gaudreau.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear
what
you.
would that look like? I mean, because he didn't make Columbus any better. Is Columbus a better team on paper than the Flyers? That's all I'm saying is you got to be sure with free agents. But if you get a look at a guy 1 year where you have the money and everything is together, you're going to want to be able to sell to that free agent that, hey, we have a team that's going to give you a chance to hoist the trophy in June. And that's all a free agent wants, is that opportunity to go to a team where they have stuff built already and where he's going to have an opportunity, if he hasn't won, to go out and add to being part of the solution and fixing it.
Yeah, I hear you. Bundy, listen, you have a book out, Road to Redemption, that's available on Amazon. Tell us about it, Bundy.
It came out in October, but really, Anthony, my story here is one of recovery. I recovered from alcohol over 12 years ago, and what I've done in the Philadelphia area to this point has been remarkable. For my eyes, people that have helped me. I've partnered with Pennsylvania Recovery Center, which we have 2 spots, one in Fishtown, one in Phoenixville. I've created the Bundy Recovery website, which is an easier way to get a hold of us. You just go on to bundyrecovery.com. And you can fill out, the page, get a hold of us, and we'll deem, what proper treatment model for you, whether it's here. If you live in Montana, we'll find you treatment in Montana or wherever suitable for you. But it's a lot of things, a lot of people struggling, and that does not include the mental health aspect of this, which I'm prevalent in as well. We have Pennsylvania behavioral health as well. Just a lot of great stuff, Anthony, in this area. And you know what? It showed me really, playing for the Flyers and being in this community, what I see now in the recovery community and addiction from, drugs, alcohol, mental health. This town has got so much heart, and I love it for that. That's why I love Philadelphia. That's why people are passionate about the sports, because I see the same thing. I see the same heart involved in what I'm trying to do right now and how that support has been relevant to me. Man, I can't thank people enough in this area, and there's a lot of people struggling. Just don't be afraid to reach out to me.
That's right.
BundyRecovery.com. Got great places for you in the book. Yeah, Road to Redemption. Got a great story. It's got an ending that it's got great hockey stories, but an ending that I think if you're looking for a push yourself, you'll be able to hopefully find that part of that recipe in that book for you. So I appreciate that, Anthony.
No, God bless you, brother. That's very important. All right. So listen, we love you, buddy. And you take care of yourself.
Thanks,
Good
pal.
luck with everything, man. And, save the Flyers, man. All right? Save the Flyers.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. There's a lot of great voices, I can tell you that. And, I love to say it, let's go Flyers. Because, you know what, they will be prevalent again. Everybody goes through ups and downs. But the sooner the better. But I do ask for patience. Let people do their jobs and try to get this thing right.
Thanks, Bundy. Good stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. The great Chris Therien on the Comcast Business Hotline. I mean, they're so far. Ups and downs are one thing. The only thing I would disagree is ups and downs are one thing. This has been a prolonged down.
Yeah, this is a lot of downs.
All right? And there is one thing in common, that the corporation has owned them throughout this whole period.
Yeah.
So I'm dubious that things can change.
And I thought that there was the chance, the bubble year.
Yeah.
I thought that was the chance that we were going to see Flyers hockey back, and they just screwed that up 7 ways of Sunday. And this is part of the reason why we're in the mud right now.
Yeah, I know.
As it is.
And that's why we're doing this show today, because we love the Flyers. They mean a ton to us, and it's important. 610-632-0975, 610-632-0975. As we hang out, we convene our Flyers Town Hall right here, Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. Stop by. We got tickets for you, all right? And we're going to, in fact, we'll give away a pair coming up too on the line, and we'll on the contest line. We'll do that as well. Give you a chance to give away as well some tickets. Lots, dude. It's tonight's final home game. It's symbolic, man. All right. We'll come back in just a moment. Your calls, I see you guys hanging. We're going to run through all of our calls straight ahead. Right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Hey, Phelps, let me ask you about
A Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right. It is 11:50 across the Delaware Valley. Flyers Town Hall today. Couple things. One, great night by the Phillies.
Oh, my God.
Last night. Bats alive. Nicky Doubles.
Look.
Doubles is putting on a show.
And that's all we need.
Here's my man, Nicky Doubles.
That's all we
right
need.
there.
I don't need 40 bombs. I just need you to have an approach, and I need you to have some pop and to drive the baseball.
It was nice, man.
And the Bomer.
That's Alcantara.
Dude, they
annihilated Alcantara. Boom. Looks ridiculous,
He's got
dude.
3 home runs already.
Dude,
man.
he looks ridiculous, Boom Bomb.
And that was one of the things we were
right,
saying.
Anthony.
If with Hoskins out,
yes,
Bohm needed to step up, and he has so far.
Between the two big right-handed bats have been Bohm and Nicky.
Yeah.
And Lestat is hitting the ball well.
He's just hitting over 400 like it's nothing. The shift is really, the lack of shift has helped him out a lot.
Big time.
Because he's finding holes constantly, which is good for Stott, and whether he's at the top of the order or bottom of the order. No, that was a much-needed win yesterday for the Phils. And I don't mean win, because they scored more runs. I mean the fact that they put up a 15 spot.
Yes.
Like, they needed that. They needed to break through a little bit. So that was good for the Fightins. Nice win.
Huge win, man.
Strom's been awesome.
He has.
He doesn't have like explosive stuff, but he just goes out there and throws.
You know who was amazing when you think about it. Between him and Falter.
Yeah,
because Falter's kept in games.
Yeah, they're the two stoppers.
I mean, Hey, listen.
Not Nolan Wheeler.
Hey, listen.
But Strom and Falter.
But last night was a big Alcantara. I was like, all right, well, because Luzardo's pitching tonight and he's good. I was
nasty. Yeah.
I was a little worried about,
you go down 1-0 already in the series.
And you got to face him, and the fact they jumped all over him. That was awesome, Alcantara. They blasted.
They weren't cookies, right?
Nah.
Like they were hitting the ball hard.
They blasted him.
Schwarber, a couple doubles yesterday. That's good to see.
They blasted him. That was nice.
Especially after you blow that game against the Reds.
Yeah,
like that can't happen.
No, that was fun. That was amazing. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. And then, of course, the Premier League coming to Philadelphia.
That's cool.
We love that. That's going to be awesome. I'm in on that. You in on that?
Yeah, that's one of those. I will have no rooting interest, but I will try to go. I'm going to try to get there because I wanted to see that. Like, that's such a special experience to see a Premier League soccer game,
Yeah, big time. Let's get my man VG up here. Violations, Greg. What do you say, VG?
Alcantara may never be the same. He might have to IL after that one. He got shelved for 9 runs in 4 innings. That is so unheard of.
10 hits, dude.
I know.
Like, it wasn't like he was wild or anything. 10 hits.
No. They destroyed him, man. It was good to see. I don't know when's Bones going to start batting third on the regular at this point.
Dude, he looks fantastic. I mean, just turning on the ball. He looks great.
Yeah, I mean, we always said, he's a good hitter. He's just waiting for some power to come. He's showing it now. So then, great vault tuners, but even before you guys mentioned it, I was like, what is happening in my eyes? I was like, welling up. Listen to, the Lindros scrum with no stick. And it just makes me so sad about what they've become. And I mentioned hearing those 74, 75 highlights caused so much resentment in me because that's just paved the way for this bully, mucker, and grinder mentality that's just overrun this franchise for, 40 years now. And it's kind of part of why we are where we are. They could never escape it.
Yes.
And Sealski's got a piece today. There's a lot of red flags in that piece. I mean, Torch having more say than any coach normally has. He's sitting up in the box with the GM, which is weird. And Hilford mentions that the 3 individuals who he calls these titans.
The wise men.
I call them front office underachievers at best. I mean, they're going to be part of it. They'll be there and they'll be available if asked. They shouldn't be anywhere. These guys have, these guys have, like, a certain, I don't know, is it gravitas maybe? Briere's got to look up to them. It's obvious Hilferty has such reverential thoughts and treatments about them because he probably had fun in the 70s with them. Like, those guys should not be there. They should not be in the building. Send them out to grand openings of ice skating rinks or something around there.
Right.
That is
Yeah,
it,
no,
man.
I hear you. No, it needs a wash. And I love those guys. I didn't make no boat about it, but it needs a wash, man. You need modern thinkers. You need to get young. You need to look at stars. You need to look at, how do you get they're still stuck in the last century, to be honest with you.
They are. And you talked about how much fun it was, like, watching games at pubs and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a pub around the corner from me, O'Neill's, which I love. They have they have a red goal light hanging on the wall, and it's like, it brings sadness to me because it was a part of a promotion with some beer company. Every time the Flyers scored, this light would go off in the pub, a goal light. It was timed up to the broadcast. It was amazing. Light would go off with a goal horn. Everyone would be screaming. And we are so far removed from those days. And it's just, I really wanted to get angry and fired up today, but I'm sad from that vault, man.
I know, man. And it feels like it's like enough. I feel like we're mourning the loss of them, and like the loss of relevancy. Like I told you the story. We were joking about Massimo. I mean, listen, but that's real. And the fact is we're going in the spring. We can't wait for the Sixers. It used to be, Flyers were a regular every spring, man. And it was fun. And, are they going to go on a run this year? And,
Dude, I'm looking at an Oilers hat on my desk. This is ridiculous. And it's like, instead of being fired up, it feels like a memorial today.
Yeah,
but, nice work.
It's my buddy Vince said, the three wise men, the Flyers doing the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same old is what it is.
Yeah, man. Keep the pressure on them.
Thanks, VG. Appreciate it, buddy. Take it easy, brother. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it really is. And that's sad. I mean, look, VG's looking for a different team every single year now.
Yeah.
A team in the playoffs.
Because
you also want to have I can enjoy a hockey game without having a rooting interest, right? But, for some people, maybe like VG, he can't. He needs to have a squad, and the Flyers haven't done that for him.
I know. Derek was at the game Sunday night, Easter Sunday, and saw and heard the chant. Derek, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Ed, man. Thank you guys for doing this today, first of all. I want to say that off the bat because we need this, man. Flyers fans in the city, it's easy to get lost in the minutia because the Sixers and the Eagles and Phillies are so good. But for Flyers fans, man, at the end of the day, these are just sad times, bro. And I appreciate you guys for allowing people to vent and complain about it. I was there, Ed, Sunday. It was absolutely embarrassing, man. It's bad. Like, when you're at a game and there are opposing fans in the building, you want to be able to talk a little bit back and forth. We were in the row, and it was 4 Bruins fans in our section. Not to mention, one of my boys is a clown Bruins fan anyway. So me and my other boys who are both Flyers fans, we had to go with a Bruins fan. So we're sitting in the row. Great seats, by the way. I had never been in the club section down low. It was amazing. That aside, that made the game worth it. And when you're trying to pop off and talk about, they started roasting us and talking about the banners, and you try as a Flyers fan to have that pride to talk back. But when your team's getting embarrassed on the ice, I didn't know that they sat 6 players, and it was all we could do to just lose 5-3. We should have been blown out, and they took a goal away. I mean, they hit the pipe on one goal. The disparity between a good playoff team and where we're at right now.
And they sat 6 of their starters, Boston.
I didn't know that's the next day, and I didn't know that. After they showed him on the screen, this man has 60 goals.
I know.
And we were trotting out Morgan Frost and Evan Hayes. Nothing against those guys, man.
I know.
We just don't have players, bro.
I know.
And my boy made one good point. He said right now the Flyers just have the lights on. We're just operating in the Wells Fargo. We're just running utility bills. We got the lights on. What are we doing? We're doing nothing. And I'll let you guys go with this, and I won't hold y'all up. But what irks my soul more than anything, how did the Kraken and the Vegas Knights come into this league, and all of a sudden there's scores
Yes.
better than we are.
Yes.
The Vegas Knights have been in this league 6 years. 5 of the 6 years they've made the playoffs. Is it that easy, bro?
I know.
The playoffs
It's
last year,
unbelievable, right? Like an expansion team comes in.
It's embarrassing.
Now you start clean slate, and but you're right on. It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous.
We need to take a page from that book. We need to take a page from that book to show how to build it, and not that just Vegas is good, but they've maintained it. I know the expansion draft helps teams, but they've maintained it and have been good every year.
No, you're so right. Oh, amen. Derek, you are amazing, Derek. You really are. I need you constantly. You're a great 4 for 4 man.
Hey, I'm 3 for 4. You know me, but I love you anyway. You know.
Don't say that.
But Ed, I still love you, though.
I still love you too, but don't say that, 3.
I ain't even mention it, Ed.
I know. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Flyers. It's about the Flyers today, bro.
It is about the Flyers today. It is.
Have a good one, Ed. Appreciate you.
I love you, buddy.
All
Take
right,
it
man.
easy, D. Take it easy, buddy. Amazing. Look at this. What you got?
Keyword time.
Oh. Chance to win a $1,000 gift card. That's right. The
97.5 The Fanatic's $1,000 gift card giveaway.
That's right. $1,000 giveaway. Right now, the keyword is promise. 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 That is the key word. There's 3 ways to play. You can text the word promise to 45911. Text it again, 45911. The keyword promise. You can enter the word promise on the Fanatic app or at 97.5thefanatic.com. Once again, the keyword is promise. 97.5 The Fanatic's $1,000 gift card giveaway presented by American Standard HVAC Contractors. To find a dealer, visit AmericanStandardAir.com. We are live in South Philadelphia, the Flyers Town Hall, Chickies and Pete's. I spy 2 legends in Chickies and Pete's, a pair of father-son tandem that will be with us shortly. Of course, the great David Boreanaz, who is an amazing actor, an incredible actor, 2 huge hit shows, all right? Amazing stuff. A Philly kid, born and raised, man, he just loves the Flyers. And, of course, his dad, who I see him and I still smile, man. One of the greatest people, just a beautiful man, Dave Roberts. I see him and I hear the Action News theme plays. The one of the great people in Philadelphia, Dave Roberts. He's just a beautiful guy. Father and son, Philadelphians. They're going to join us coming up shortly. Let me get a couple more people on the line because today is you got to be heard. You have to be heard about your love. What do the Flyers mean to you? Why is this franchise important? It's worth saving. Black Gritty, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Black Gritty!
What up, brother? So I'm on a whole nother spectrum, right? So when I was a kid, shout out to like the Andrews family, and there's a couple of super duper Flyers families when I was in high school where they were like, yo, I know you're not into hockey, but come watch this hockey game with me. And like when going to playoffs, like people were excited. I would watch some stuff and I would try to learn. I wasn't into it. So I had my kid, and my kid, I took her to a Sixers playoff game. She's all into it. We watched Eagles, watched baseball. I took her to a Flyers game. She's like, I love hockey. She's like, why don't we do more of this? And I'm like, you know what? We should do more of this. There's a 4-4 household. We support, but we should get more into it. And so I started taking. She gets me back into it because Like her love of the sport gets me into it. And now I'm like, well, we suck. And now this is part of Philadelphia because everything around us is winning right now. And I'm like, well, this is what happens sometimes in Philadelphia. You have to suffer and wonder why. Last year at the Phillies, when they lost, she cried. Like she emotionally cried. So like she cares. And this is the part where you're losing the youth. Where if you don't have any kind of winning or any kind of hope, it's hard for them to stay in it. You know what I mean? Like some kids, like she gets it because again, 4 for 4, ride down with our teams. This is how it has to be sometimes. But a lot of people just aren't tuning in, so you're losing that fandom for the future by not having any kind of hope. And that's what kills me about it. I'm like the guy just said about these Panther teams, like, I don't know that much, but I'm looking at other teams like, how are they able to do it and we can't do anything? Like, what are we doing wrong? And I do think it comes down to not having a real owner, not having true ownership for somebody who cares. Like, the fact that I'm watching, even though I know we're losing, and I'm trying to say play the song because I'm hoping for wins, I don't feel like somebody's sitting there living or dying. Whether they make a mistake or not, Jeffrey Lloyd is living or dying with the team. When he wants something, he wants it. And that means he's going to go out and make it happen. And we don't have that with the Flyers, and it sucks. It really sucks, because it's sad. Like, I don't know. I know we can storm the gates because I know you got the town hall, but we need to do something. I know.
And again, this is why I wanted to call a kind of meeting among the fan base, just to let come up with ideas. What needs to be done? You just can't let it go, right? Like, you just can't just slough it off and just go away passively, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and like, again, we're going to games like, oh great, I can go sit all the way down to the moon now. But guess what? There's nobody in there cheering for us. I got opposing teams yelling in my face, and it kind of ruins the experience, because I'm like, man, half the stadium is empty, and then the other half is filled with people I don't like.
Yes.
It's a bad experience all around, because we got to do something. They got to get it together, because I miss playing my solo. I miss my 2 times. I ain't heard it in so long. Sometimes I do on my own. I do on my own. I love you guys. Have a great day.
Love you too, BG. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, 2 times is dead.
I mean, like, we tried whatever we could, right? Whatever we could to do this thing, man. Yeah. I mean, just to have some fun with it.
You just think of
we miss it bad.
You just think of the bad contracts, man, and not just this current team.
Oh, God.
Andrew McDonald.
Oh, my God.
You got a big 4-year deal.
I mean, just how about Hayes? 7 years.
That was a big contract. And look, I keep on saying this one. Sean Couturier, who is a good hockey player.
Yeah.
Got a very long contract. Now, the average annual salary was a big part of it, so that helps out the Flyers. But just they give these contracts to guys where you're like, okay, who else are you signing? And they never do, because they think that is the guy.
It's unbelievable.
It's like the Phillies last year when they signed Schwarber. I said, that's great, but who else?
Yes.
Right? And they get Castellanos. Now, obviously, Castellanos didn't play to the way we expected him to. But the Flyers, it's like they signed that Schwarber, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They don't sign the next guy.
Right.
And you're like, wait, what's the plan here?
Exactly.
And that's what it always comes back to. Plan. They don't have one.
By the way, the real quick NFL note, very interesting. The Falcons are acquiring the Lions' Jeff Okudah, their terrific cornerback.
Yeah.
Really interesting. So I can't believe it. I'm like shocked. For they're trading a 2023 5th-round pick to the Lions.
Oh, something's up.
For Okudah. Yeah, well,
for
contract.
A 5th-round pick.
Yeah, contract. It's a dump, contract dump. Well, that's interesting, because that also means the Lions will be taking one of the corners.
Yeah, that's true. One more thing of note. Just wanted to bring this up. The Mike Jensen, who covers Big 5, City 6 basketball for the Inquirer, he put out the press release for that Big 5 tournament that's going to happen in December at the Wells Fargo Center. There's going to be 2 pools of 3. Pod 1 will be Temple, LaSalle, and Drexel. Pod 2 will be Nova, St. Joe's, and Penn. And it's going to be a round-robin tournament that will have a first-place game, a second-place game, and a third-place game. They're going to have a Big 5 Classic triple header on December 2nd.
Oh, it's fantastic.
At the Wells Fargo Center. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Palestra is involved at all.
But
nobody went last year.
I know.
So
no, and
I can't blame them.
No, you could see. Listen, you could see a that's a triple header. People will go to that.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they're trying to make it relevant again. We talk about relevancy with the Flyers, and they're trying to make college basketball relevant in Philly again.
Let me get Mitch up here. Mitch, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What do you say, Mitch?
I feel your pain. I understand what you're going through. Yeah, it's rough, boys. It's a long, long time of suffering.
Yeah, and you growing up in Philadelphia and this whole thing of the Flyers, you remember the past better than I do, and you know that how important they were to the city.
Oh, I remember standing on Cottman Avenue when they won the cup, and the place went absolutely crazy.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I can only imagine like this city erupting. And that was like the parade, right? Before that happened, we were, you know what, the city of losers, right? Like there was nothing good that had happened for years.
That's true.
And
you know,
yeah, please tell us.
Well, my take on the Flyers, and I know they've been suffering for a long time, but I honestly believe that when they traded Brindamore, the captain of the team, to Carolina, things went south for a long time. Tunis, what year was that? You probably know the answer to that one.
When Brindy went to the Carolina?
Yeah.
What, as a coach or as a player?
No, as
a player.
As a player, Brindy went to the let me pull this up for 2000.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
23 years ago is about half of what we've suffered with the Flyers.
Yeah.
And in the last 23 years, it hasn't been good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I understand where you're coming from with the sentiment. You know, they did get to a cup in 2010. They went to a conference finals in 04.
Yeah, this is where I'm coming from. Brindamore, you would agree, was a hell of a player, right?
Yes.
Okay. He was also the captain at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Lindros and the whole thing. Remember that whole story, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't trade people of that caliber, and you don't trade.
Yeah, listen, I'm not arguing with that. I hear you. I'm just saying, I think it goes a little. It's a little later on, but I feel you. I think it's a little later on some of the issues because they did have some success following that. But I get you. I mean, the shame was Lindros and the final concussion. I mean, the concussions just robbed Lindros of what could have been, the elite, one of the greatest all time.
I live in a city, and it's a newer city, obviously.
Yeah.
They've never had a championship here. It doesn't matter what sport. There are no championships in the Phoenix, Arizona. And these people here, they don't take it as hard because their life is not really like our lives are. We're in Philly, where everything is memories. They don't have those memories here. They live for today and possibly the next couple of days, and that's it.
Right. That's because of our soul, man. It's you live in Phoenix, which is such a transient place, right, brother? And Philadelphia is a city of roots, right? It's rooted in the birth of our nation. So it's got all that. All right, we're up against it. Coming up, David Boreanaz and Dave Roberts. What a great father-son tandem. As we're going to do our Flyers Town Hall, two great Flyers people, and having these guys here at Chickies and Pete's. Come on by. We got loads of tickets that we're giving out. So you come by, you're going to get tickets to tonight's game. Come in, take your kids and take your buddies. Just go down, man, and come on down and just be heard. It's the last home game. We got a lot of these tickets that we want to give away to people. Come on down to Chickies and Pete's right here in South Philly. Call up, and you can hang out with us. Coming up, I see David. He's going to come and hang out. The two guys, it's awesome. 610-632-0975, 610-632-0975 is how you reach us. We'll come back in just a moment and talk to the guys. Real excited to talk to my boys. That's right. Hey, let's talk about your lawn for a second.
Now, I walked out of that game a Philadelphia Flyer fan.
Yep.
I walked out of that game baptized by the throwing peanuts and the melted ice cream cone in my hand. And if it fell, nobody was going to buy me one because they knew I was a Sabres fan. But walked out of that building feeling the roof just explode off of the excitement of the game that I had just watched. I literally felt like I got an infusion of orange and black that made me who I am.
So your father's a genius. Like he knew that he had to indoctrinate you
definitely
into Philadelphia
right away. Well, he walked into the World Series, seeing Tommy John pitch with the Phillies and Rose. He walked into a World Championship. I took him to his first World Series game. I said, David, this is the World Series. This is the top of the game. Philadelphia's there. They're going to win. You're there.
We had that time. We had the Phillies. We had the Flyers. We had the Eagles. Ron Jaworski. I mean, the city was alive.
Sixers with Doc.
Sixers with Doc and Moses Malone coming in. Before that, it was Dawkins, right? Smashing the backboard. Philly loves that. Yeah. Philadelphia loves impact. Right? They love the impact and the enthusiasm, and they'll let you know win or lose. There's no gray area with us. It's in between. There's nothing in between, right?
No, and that's why you it's funny because he goes and has an incredibly successful career in Hollywood, and he's never left his roots. Like always, any chance he comes to come back here to be a part of it. He roots for his teams. You go to games. Like that was an A-list parenting job by you, brother.
I fell into a good slot there, and of course, then we had the Sixers with Dr. Jade. I think Barkley was a rookie then.
Yeah, coming out of Alabama.
Billy Cunningham. Yeah, that whole crew. So he walked into that, and then with Jaworski, Ron Jaworski, I knew him from Lackawanna, New York, outside of Buffalo.
Right, sure.
And he was in L.A. and they trade him in '78. Comes to Philly, we show up in '78. So hey, Ron, was it like a reconnection, and the allegiance to this city and to the fans here is amazing. It just grows within inside of you.
The best thing you said to me, you raised your son right, David. And I said, yeah, I have, because everybody knows that lettuce, right? Lettuce, my son Jaded.
David's son Lettuce, who I love.
I said,
we had dinner the other night. He's got great hair, man.
Yes.
Right?
Come on.
But now he's like, hey, I've indoctrinated him to the Philadelphia area and said, this is your sports team. This is the team that you bleed with. This is the orange and black. This is the boys on the ice, the fly boys, however you want to talk about them. I got to give you the small history of it, right? But this is your team. And he took it on, and it was like our team. We live and breathe it. We watch the games together. We watch all the Eagles games together. We watch the Phillies, the Sixers. We love the Sixers. It's great to know that the Sixers are back in the fray. They start their playoff push.
Saturday, buddy.
MB's ready to roll.
Yeah.
You can feel the thunder coming, baby.
Yeah,
right? It's
that's
like
right.
Showtime. But the best thing I did, I brought my kid up right because he's a Philadelphia fan, and he understands the history of it. And when the Flyers lose, it's a problem. It's a problem because it becomes passionate, and my blood starts to. I feel as though there's weights on us. I feel as though there's like rocks, like we're in the rocks of where this team is right now, and I feel like we need to break the rocks up and get the blood pumping again. And that emblem, right, for what it stands for. Because for me, meeting Ed Snyder way back in the day, for me it was a gentleman who spoke to the players. I remember when we were in Los Angeles, and I was with my son and my family, and we were there, and the Flyers got beat pretty bad. So Giroux was down the hallway, and I was going to go say hi to Claude Giroux, and he looks at me and gives me a hand and said, "Don't come, talk to me right now." And I looked a little bit over to the left, and there was Ed Snyder talking to Claude Giroux after the game, one-on-one. And I'm telling you now, Claude Giroux's eyes were filled with tears because he disappointed Ed Snyder. He disappointed the city of Philadelphia. You see, we can all talk about what they should be doing, what they can be doing, but that's the heart that's missing right now. The player-coach connection, the player Torts is doing a great job. I'm excited for Torts. I think he's a phenomenal coach, and he's pushing all the right buttons. He's doing his thing. But the owner to come down and talk to the players, shake hands when they win, be in the locker room.
Well, live it, right?
Live it.
You gotta live
you gotta
it,
live and breathe it and nurture it and be there and understand the development of it and make moves that are right and say, hey, I'm responsible for that move. I made that move with the goaltender, with Briskalov, who's with the thermos now on the ice. But he made the move, but he lived and died with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
Yes. Oh, David, you're spot on, because they've become, and look, you know this town, as well as anyone. You've been here a long, long time, Dave. Mm-hmm. And we're talking to Dave Roberts, the legend Dave Roberts, and, of course, the great actor David Boreanaz. And one of the things that, we are is a passion. Like, sports is different here, all right? You listen, you're a newscast all over. You see what the passion. You work next to Gary Papa. Yeah. You were a great sports fan. Jim Gardner, a great sports fan. And you realize the impact of sport in Philadelphia, that it wasn't just some passive endeavor like it is in Phoenix, right? It meant something. There was a pride associated with the people.
Yeah, there's. I mentioned the word allegiance, and that's what it is. Once you're into this Philadelphia scene with sports, you're in, and you're hooked completely. Winning season is great. Championship, you can't get any better. Stanley Cup, the whole thing. But when you don't go to that category, you're there. Look at the Phillies, the run that they had last year. This town, everything stopped. The playoffs started. Everything calmed down in the city. People were all together. They were one, and there was silence, and we went with the team. Great run, but we didn't make it.
Yeah, but you said something that's so important.
But then after, things changed. The people, the city changed. But that lull of goodness, of excitement for the sports team, for the Phillies team, that's what calmed things down. We need more of that today.
Listen, I'm a huge believer in this whole thing that, sports builds churches, right? Mm-hmm. Sports is about community. When we say build churches without denomination, it creates community. Sports, when the Phillies were going on that run, and you said it perfectly, everything calmed down, and you could look at it, and then the Eagles had their run, the Union was doing well, and then to their run. But during that period, violent crimes went down to near zero. I mean, it had a dramatic impact on society, and that's why, to me, it's one of my biggest messages, is that sports is so important, because sports can quell that, that civic anarchy, right? Sports can promote, sports can connects all of us, and without prejudice. It doesn't matter who's who, who's what. Sports is real. We just connect with each other over our team. We don't look at, you got more money, or you're this religion, or you're this race. We don't look at any of that stuff. We just look at each other as, hey, we're just all one under this umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's a testimony to where are we right now with these certain teams, right? In the city of Philadelphia. When we look at the Philadelphia Flyers, do we see a common ground? I don't know. I just don't. I don't think.
No, I mean they're irrelevant. That's the thing that's why we're doing this today. It's because it's something that's not right. Like I look at the four teams, and then the Union. I look at these teams almost like, my kids, right? Like, I love my kids. I love them equally, these teams, and they're a part of our lives. And I always I never like to say, this team, that team. When one is just completely gone, and they're gone off the listen, we got tons of tickets. We have people who are coming, but they should have been gone already.
Yeah, they should have been
tickets. They should have all been gone.
Yeah.
And the fact is, there's rampant apathy, and that's the thing that worries me. I feel like you're almost fighting for their, existence in some way.
And the players reflect that, right? The players, do I show up and play? Look at the players. And that the product is on the ice, right? The players. Torts is an unbelievable, remarkable coach. He is pedigree. He's won a Stanley Cup. I personally have never met him. I hope to someday. And the respect I have for him from the military basis with his son being in the military, right? Being a Marine. Understanding what these special forces do and dev group people, how they bring a team together to work side by side, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Right.
Well, the Flyers have a lot of weak links right now on the ice. Like you were talking earlier with Bundy about the players and the development and the drafts. A lot of things have fallen. A lot of things have fallen as far as picks are concerned. The players develop. A lot of people don't understand how hard it is to play in the National Hockey League, first and foremost, right? These players are all...
And you grew up, just so you know, you grew up playing hockey.
I did. I grew up playing hockey. I play hockey now. I used to play with, just for fun I play, but I'd go out all my Flyers garb and my gear. We played at the Jerry Bruckheimer tournament in Vegas. Real quick story. And I was on the opposite team of Joffrey Lupul. So, Jerry brings in all the celebrities to play against with the NHL, and they have this whole weekend of playing hockey, amongst other things that we can't talk about. But I will say, playing with Lupul against him, I was so passionate about wearing the Flyers jersey that I had underneath the team logo that I was wearing. I actually started getting a fight with Lupul. Joffrey Lupul and he's looking at me going, Boreanaz, what's your problem, dude? I was upset, so I had that Philadelphia spirit. I'd literally start pushing at him, tagging him with my fist, and he's like, dude, are we fighting? So I start jabbing at him. They press me away. After the game, Jerry comes up to me, Jerry Bruckheimer says, Boreanaz, we don't fight with the real NHL player. We don't do that. So at the time, I had a Flyers equipment bag, right, that I had with all my stuff in it. And at the end of the tournament, you throw the bags over, and the guys separate it, and they put it, to where their destination's going to be. I get back to L.A., I take my bag, I'm playing a pickup game. I got Joffrey Lupul's bag, and he had mine. Can you imagine Joffrey Lupul opening up Boreanaz's bag at practice?
Oh, my God, that's fabulous. The greatest is Jerry Bruckheimer telling you, Boreanaz, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, no, seriously, Bruckheimer is like, Boreanaz, what do you think this is, man? You don't touch the NHL players. I said, listen, I'm a Philadelphia guy. Sorry, it's in my nature.
We're hands-on. Definitely hands-on, right? Oh, boy. What about that time in New York when there was a charity thing and Mom and I came up to watch you play in it? It was with the Rangers or something. I think you had a Rangers jersey on and you skated out. Next thing I know, they're all Ranger fans there and they're all cheering the charity thing. He takes off the Rangers jersey. He's got a Flyers jersey on underneath it. And they went crazy in New York.
Oh, my God.
My wife said to me, what is he doing? I said, he's being himself.
Because that's beautiful, man.
I got flack for that one. They're like, dude, what is wrong with you, Boreanaz? I walked out of MSG. They're like, Flyers suck, bro. I said, you're a Smurf. Get out of my face, man.
Dude, you remember the Smurfs?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I hated them. I used to talk Tunis about those. Hated them. Ron Duguay.
Yes.
Greshner. Yeah.
When I played with Duguay at a charity events, these celebrity games. He's more concerned about his hair.
Yeah.
He's still concerned about his hair. Great guy, fabulous person, and just the heart. But again, you know what? The players are they're the barometer right now, and we just need to pump this thing up and get back to what Philadelphia hockey is really all about.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, guys, hang out. One more segment, would you, if you don't mind? I got to ask you about the show you're doing, and you're in the 7th season. You're about to start
7th season. SEAL team. We start shooting up in May. Hopefully, the writer's strike won't happen. If it does, we'll push things. But yeah, we're very proud of that.
I want to talk about it, so it'll be fun. And of course, the legendary Dave Roberts. I want to say it all the time. I'm sorry. I'm going to embarrass you, Dave. All right, because we still love Channel 6 and. You know how it is. All right, 610-632-0975. We'll also open up the phone lines, 610-632-0975. We have tickets here at Chickies and Pete's in South Philly to go to the game. There's no strings attached. It's the last game tonight. It is the Final home game for the Flyers to play again Thursday, but this is your final home game. Come in, and the only thing I ask of you is this to be loud, and show this, the building, and show the ownership that you love this team, and that needs to change. 610-632-0975. Cuz Radio Live at the Flyers Town Hall. Chickies and Pete's. Let's talk about the Bagster. Right now, Flyers are into Bagster. All right, and we're trying to get him out.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Put that on.
It scared me. Whoa, what's going on?
Flashback. You're like, oh, am I on the air? Am I on the air?
Did he say that? That didn't go out over the air, did it?
No.
God, no. Hope not.
No. Not at all. Dave Roberts with us. And we were just talking, of course, the great David Boreanaz, his son. Great. What a father-son tandem these guys are. It's our Flyers town hall. We're talking a lot about kind of how to save the Flyers and the guys. And David flew in. He's going to the game tonight.
Yeah, I'll be at the game tonight, and I'm looking forward to being there. First and foremost, also Steve Coates's last home game.
Yeah,
who was a very good friend of mine.
Yeah,
I flew in for that, and that guy, talk about salt of the earth. I mean, he's just someone who is, hey, Mom made meatballs for him. Remember, we had him over, we had Hextall over, we had Peter Forsberg at the table, and my mom ended up making over 40 meatballs for everybody. We went through about 25 bottles of wine. Next thing I know, I'm in the driveway with Hextall getting the inside. Man.
Yeah.
And Coatsy
had 15 of them.
Coatsy actually ended up down at the little fly. We had like a little hockey rink down below this place where I live, and it was on my property, and it was just like a concrete pad with the net, like bent out of shape of my kid ripping, slappers. So Coatsy goes down there. And I was like, "Where's Coatsy?" I couldn't find him.
Missing Coatsy.
And I'm hearing slap shots, man, in the distance from upstairs. Coatsy's got on the makeshift goalie equipment, which is like whatever's down there.
Oh, that's
literally
great.
Stopping my kids' pucks. Like that is Steve Coatsy right to a T, and it was like it brought out the essence of him. So yeah, I'll be there tonight, man.
That's awesome. Oh, that's fabulous! God,
that was a classic night.
Oh man, that is great.
Patty's meatballs. That was a good night. Yeah.
That's awesome. Dave, I want to ask you real quick because it's funny because there's a lot of parallels. Like the Flyers were something that were so strong, so deep rooted in the community, and this is kind of why we're having this show today. And so was Channel 6 Action News. Was that? What do you think the secret of, why did Action News become such a staple?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, it was all truth. It was all what you saw. But we had a management team there. I have to mention one fellow in particular, Larry Pollock, who's long since passed, but smart man, but a good heart. You did your job right, there's no problems. If you stepped in the wrong direction, he called you in and say, hey, let's talk about this, this shouldn't go down. But there were other times when, go on vacation. You're going on vacation. I come back after a week's vacation. We're in the studio, Jim, Gary, and I doing stuff. All of a sudden, the general manager shows up. Years back, when I first started in the business, if the general manager walked into the studio, the TV or radio, when you were on the air, at the end of your shift, there was trouble. Someone was going to get fired.
Wow.
The opposite with this guy. Came in and said, how was your vacation? Where did you go? What did you do? Hey, Gary, he's talking with Gary. He's kidding with Jim. This is our boss. This is the top guy. And he genuinely cared. It wasn't a show, wasn't a display. And he was the key to making all of that go together and work. Jim just referred to him as my rabbi.
That's awesome.
Larry Pollock's my rabbi.
That's beautiful.
I said, well, where do I come in with this? I don't have a rabbi. I got to get the chaplain from Villanova or St. Thomas. Come on, we got to get equal time. And I said, Gary, speak up. Say something, Gary. Say something. Give a score. Do something. Come on, Gary.
Give a score.
We used to do the Don Rickles thing with him. Come on, Gary.
Yes, I can. Oh my God, I can hear it. Gary was an amazing guy. He was, God rest his soul. What a guy, man. He was a American, growing up. I mean, and you watched it all the time, David. I mean, Gary, being a sports guy, we love Gary.
Yeah, he was right in the action all the time, and he spoke from the heart. And when you watch the sports come on in Action News, it was like, it's intense, right? Or now we're going to get the score, we're going to get the lowdown, we're going to see what's happening, and that's what they provided. we graciously opened our hearts to them in our homes, and that's, again, speaks to management, speaks to what he worked under, and as family. Like, for me, it was a kid growing up. Before Disney, it was Cap Cities. So in Buffalo, it was like I would have meals. They had meals, Italian meals, and all of my father's bosses would be there. And I'd be like, David, come over here, and I'd sit over here, and I'd be part of hearing these conversations, right? So I kind of grew up hearing all this stuff and how they operated and how they made things better for the station. For us, what's it going to be better for the city, right? What's better for the city? We need that hands-on person. I keep going back, Croce was great for, right? Pat Croce,
I love
he
Pat.
infused
To this day,
energy, hey, like I want to walk into a building and I want to talk to the fans. I want to take pictures with them. I want to drink beers with them. I want to know about what they did for the holidays.
Yes.
I want to go in the back of the garage and make sausage and peppers with these guys. I want ingredients. I want to talk about the players, what they want, what they deserve, and that's respect for the players. They just come on.
Well, also, it's funny because, you need to be a part of the ownership group, I'm telling you, because you have this way, you love the people, you love our town, you love the game, and all that kind of translates into, what would make successful ownership. I mean, your father just talked about, Larry Pollock and the importance of, the leadership. I mean, and that's presiding leadership from the top, which is, again, I keep saying it. And I love Comcast, right? Like, it's a great Philadelphia company, and the Roberts family are amazing people. God bless them. The problem lies into, you can't nurture. It's hard for a corporation to nurture a sports franchise, and sports franchises are public trusts. They're not they're not a traditional business. While they are a business and a very big one and lucrative, they are a public trust. They mean more, and we get so much pride and so much enjoyment and so much enriching from our sports teams, which is why what you're talking about is nurturing.
Yep, nurturing and seeing, like, walking outside. I remember 6 years ago, God bless Ed Snyder, who passed away 7 years ago today. He was just such a kind man because he's kind to everybody, and he just took the time to speak to you, not just have a 2-minute conversation. What do you think of these players? What do you think of this situation? Wholeheartedly was there, and he listened. Like, he was a listener. And those are people are hard to find. That's what the city needs. And yeah, I saw his statue out front. I was like, and the Flyers have just been falling apart. I looked at that statue and said, we got to do better for you, man. We got to do better for you. So, God bless Ed Snyder. Really, God bless him, and remember what he's all about.
Yeah, he loved his team, man. And that's what we're talking about today. And by the way, we want you to come down. We still have plenty of tickets, so we got a bunch of them, man, to give away. I don't care. You want to bring kids, you bring your kids, bring anybody. Come on down and go to the game tonight. It's the last home game. David's going to be there in attendance. All right, so make sure you come down, and we just give them to you. And you just come down to Chickies and Pete's right here in South Philadelphia. David, I got to ask you, because you're here with us, and you got to be so proud, Dave. My man is on yet another hit television show. The hits keep on coming, all right? I don't know what it is. You are a terrific actor, and, you are in the shows are just home runs. And SEAL Team is a home run in its 7th season. What's that been like? And, listen, there's a realism to the show, and you could see that, you guys have, when it comes to producing the production of the show, that you have a lot of input from the real guys. They're the real guys that are there, that whether it's the dev crew guys or real SEALs, people that worked or have sacrificed their lives to be part of in the military to protect this great country of ours. And what's astounding about it and extraordinary for me is to be able to hear their stories while doing this show for going into 7 years. And my body and my mind is kind of beat up, but I think about it's nothing even close to what these men and women do for us to protect us day in and day out. So being a part of that show has, for me, just given me insight into
their mental capacity, how they deal with certain situations coming back home, how they're accepted, how they deal with PTS, TBI, how they deal with the mental component of it all. And it's difficult at times. It's humbling at times. I'm so proud to be able to stand with my fellow castmates and do a show like this. We're at Paramount Plus right now. We've moved over to our streaming platform, which even allows us even more to get deeper and darker with these types of stories.
Yeah.
But one thing that I always said from the beginning with all of my shows, if you don't see a Flyer emblem on me, I'm not doing it. So maybe that's part of it.
I know you're at Bones is hysterical. You would always be sending us these messages, man. Through in each episode, you always had like a message for us.
I would do secret messages and do secret dialogue. And I know Jason Hazel has done some secret dialogue and thrown out some people. We've done like our certain ops that we're doing, and if we hit during our operations as SEALs, you hit certain target spots and you call them like, so and so is cleared. So it's kind of like, Snyder's cleared. Like, like we'll throw in his verbiage or whatever the Flyer situation was. Always put that into like what's going to happen. Like, Legion of Doom cleared.
Right. Exactly.
So I got to incorporate that. But, a blessing. And, I learned early on, from sitting next to my dad. So, being here with my father and being able to do something like this, he always said to me, David, you always take the time to stop and listen and listen with your heart, listen with your heart. And that's always stayed with me. And those conversations can go on and on and on at times when you got to get out of here somewhere. But to that downfall, I still do it to this day. So I owe so much to my dad who's infused that into me. That's part of it. That's part of the love that we need for the Flyers, I think, too.
Yes. Yeah. And, that, again, we always talk about nurturing and I brought up the, sports building churches and community. And what we're talking about today is kind of resuscitating and reviving and, bringing life back into the franchise. And I think that's kind of the mission in front of us.
All right. Well, and the question is, how do we do that?
Well, right. And that's why it's just,
get in and we support.
It's an exchange of ideas and, all that stuff. Dave, real quick, I want to ask you because you go from doing Bones, which was, lighthearted and to then, and your character's great, right? Like, to then doing SEAL Team, which is a completely different, beast. And what was that transition like? I mean, that had to be
animalistic, man. I was like, long story short, I had met with Chris Chulak, who comes from, ER, just shameless. Like, this dude knows how to do storytelling. He's a phenomenal director, showrunner. This guy just can hit it. And ironically, we just, had a great dinner. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I just finished Bones. I don't want to go on to another series. It's shooting in New Orleans, the pilot. My kid has to play ice hockey. There's no ice in New Orleans. I'm not going. I literally, I'm out. 2 months later, they're shooting the pilot. They have a problem with the actor that they hired. Would you reconsider coming back and doing the show? I said, all right. Ball's in my court now. So I was fortunate enough to get to where I really wanted to get with the negotiation. Got in, flew in. 24 hours later, I got a helmet on. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I got gear on that weighs about 75 pounds. I'm like, I should be somewhere with my family enjoying something else. And here I am in all this garb.
You should be having a green drink.
This is ridiculous. Green drinks, yeah. All right, I'll talk to you about that later on. I'll fill it. That's a whole nother story. I knew you'd get that in. Soon to be orange drinks, my friend. All right. But yeah, there's an intensity to it. The guys, they all have their workout programs, the physicality, the mental aspect of it. I kind of attacked it for the mental aspect of it, being that I am, older than the other guys. It's hard to keep up with that stress of that on the body and the joints and the physicality of it. But it's such an intense role, an intense story subject that we deal with, and we do it real. We don't mess around. We don't rehearse. We show up. We throw a camera in people's faces and we go. And that's the testimony of how fluid the machine is. Like, we're efficient. but we know how to do it. And I think to me, it's all sports metaphor too. When I direct, I'm the same exact way. Get the puck deep. Let's crush some bodies. Get some bodies in front of the net, and the camera will find you.
he's talking to these actors, crush the body, and they're looking at him like
Laviolette.
Like what? Yeah, what's going on here? What's going on? I'll tell you though, as a veteran, I'm so proud of him, being a veteran myself. Being there, my wife and I, Patty, go out and we see them do the show sometimes, and then they have this wall where the members of the crew, if they have relatives and so forth that have served, they have their picture, and they put it on a wall. So outside of the studio, they have all these veterans, some of them that gave the last full measure of devotion in battle. Their pictures up there with their family. And we took a good friend of ours, Ken Pizer, Vietnam guy who recently passed, medal winner, so his picture is up there from our group. So to see this,
it's beautiful,
and they have the veterans all together, the show is very, very meaningful and very authentic. So authenticity, talking with people, touching with people, that's what we need. Not only today, but also with all of our sports teams.
Yes.
There's no egos involved with our show. Look, the egos, throw it out the door, because SEALs operate one way. They're there to get the job done, right? And they're never above you, never below you. They're by your side. Like, let's think of it that way. Let's get I think the biggest thing right now with the Flyers is the ego. Okay, you can put it on anything. I'm not putting it on anyone. I'm just saying, get rid of the ego, and that means understanding what's good for the city of Philadelphia and the fans. That's it.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
That's right. No, I think that's brilliant. I think it's so apt to recognize what the franchise means to the city. All these teams are gifts to the city, and we get a lot of enjoyment from them. And I'm so with you. What Steele's fascinating. What did you learn? What stood out to you when you started to really learn about what they do and how, we talk about superheroes all the time.
Yeah.
Well, these men and women are true superheroes. They are just amazing people, and what they can do is it's all inspiring.
I saw it. For me, I've seen it, and the biggest thing I learned was adapt and overcome. Knowing how to pivot in a situation that presents itself. If the adversity is there and you take it on and there's an issue, learning how to pivot and just front sight focus. Like, I've seen this with these guys. I saw it in the pilot. A real dev crew guy was coming down a ladder with a chopper picking us up overhead. It was crazy. It was like 3 in the morning. He missed a step on the ladder down, right? But he pivoted and got the dog up, got on the ladder, and the chopper took off. I'm watching this going, this is all real. But at that moment, when I saw him, afterwards, he got so upset with the mistake that he made in that one instance. He just put himself down. He blamed himself. It was so intense. Like, you literally had to pull him out in order to calm him down. But what he did in that situation, because it was such a pin, it was so small, anything like the smallest little thing, he was able to pivot and go for it. And that, to me, when I saw that, I was like, that's what the show is, man. And that's what I've learned most, is being able to understand. Things are going to hit us all the time in life. We don't know what that's going to be.
Right.
And when it does hit us, we have to be able to understand, take it, pivot, adapt, and overcome. Because it's the way it is.
You guys are shooting in some wild places too.
Oh yeah, wow. We shot in Jordan this past year. We shot in Puerto Rico. We're shooting in Colombia this year. I think for us, we pride ourselves on the realism of it.
Yeah.
Going to the spots. We got a really great season 7 coming up, and we're going to tackle a lot of issues. I think for the biggest thing for these guys, outside of the PTS and the TBI, is for them to understand I just killed another human being. That, to them, is the hardest thing for them to come to grips with. So we're going to go dive deep into that this season. That's going to be a big one. The storyline takes place on Honduras, and it's going to be a lot of with the fentanyl stuff. It's going to be intense.
Wow.
But we press into that because if we can show that darkness, then people are going to say, I relate to that. Thank you. You saved my life. You know, I'm going to go call for help. You know, Bundy earlier was like, hey, you know, you got mental problem issues, whatever it is. We're here to help you and help you find what is needed for you to adapt and overcome. And I love that about our show.
Yeah, that's incredible. Boys, I can't thank you enough for hanging out, man. I mean, I got to tell you.
No green drinks. I'm upset. They make fun of me because I have like a green martini.
DA's going to be sent over.
Will be sent over. It's like, come on, man. Let's just. I can't even start.
I got to say, Dave, God bless you. You look fantastic, man, and retirement's good. It's been good to you. We miss you, though, man.
Thank you. It's nice to be missed, and God has blessed us. And I say, between David and I, there's a structure, there's a backbone, and all of our sports teams have to have that backbone and that special touch. Our special touch is my wife Patty and his mother.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Thank God you said that, or you'd be staying with me tonight.
Yeah, that would be tough staying with you tonight.
Get no meatballs, baby.
No more meatloaf. No more sausage and peppers. Veal parm. No.
That's fabulous.
No, they're not giving out the Philly bats at Flyers games. There's a reason for that.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
dude. They would give out and they were like, do you remember the bottle bats? The black bottle bats?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like they would give out the full bats.
Yeah. Smart thing to do.
Like, you know,
bunch of drunken Philadelphia fans.
I know what I'm saying.
Can go wrong?
What can go wrong?
I mean, this is what we did. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it was fabulous. David, great stuff, bro. Listen,
love you, man.
Thank you. You need to be, part of this thing. You are amazing. You love this team. You love the sport. Yeah, I just love what you said, dude. So keep it up, man.
Love it, man. I want to be there for the players, man.
Yeah.
You know, because the players are what makes it all tick, and I really respect that. I respect it. The locker room's the locker room. That's the coach's job. That's Torts. I love him for that. And I really appreciate the players.
The fan experience, man. Should be, being a part of it, understanding what they want is a big deal. SEAL team, don't forget Paramount Plus. Everybody's got to watch it. Boys, thanks, guys. All right, great to see you guys. They are.
Action news.
Got it. Still got it.
You still got it. He still got it, man. I love it. All right, we'll come back, and there's still time. Come over to Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia, and just pick up your tickets and, go to the game tonight. David will be there, and it'll be a great night. It's the last night, last home game, and, make it worth something. Make it symbolic instead of just, letting it go out with a whimper. Yeah. So we'll come back in just a moment. Cuz Radio with the Tunis right here. Chickies and Pete's, South Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic. Let's talk about the Bet Parks app, shall we? Because the NBA playoffs, they're underway tonight, the playing games. So you got the playing games coming up tonight, this week, and then the first round starts on Saturday. Sixers, 1 o'clock. They're an 8-point favorite. Now, you could bet on a lot of different ways with the Bet Parks app. So if you like the Sixers in 4, 5, 6, you like the Sixers to win it all, you like the Sixers to cover game 1. I mean, there's a myriad of ways to play the game. And more than just the score, we got the Fightins tonight against the Marlins. So if you like, Bohm's on a heater, so maybe you could pick Bohm to hit the home run or total bases. Right, Castellanos hit another double, Nicky doubles. You can bet on all that stuff right there on your Bet Parks app. Download it, betparks.com. New customers bet.
TV, Ways, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now.
All right, let's talk about, our broadcast Thursday NBA roundtable. The playoffs. That's right, the playoff roundtable. Join us at McGillen's Old Ale House in Center City Thursday, 10 a.m. We're going to have Sixers roundtable. Tyrone, Devon, Bobby C. Starting at 2 o'clock, we'll have our Sixers playoff pep rally with John Kincaid, Connor Thomas, and the Fanatic crew all day, giving away great prizes, play the song T-shirts. I'm glad they took our invention and made T-shirts out of it, my intellectual IP. Sports gear, Sixers playoff tickets. It's actually awesome, man. We love it. It's going to be a blast. McGillen's. I love McGillen's. A Philadelphia landmark, open since 1860. The oldest continuously operating tavern in Philadelphia. Grab your crew, join us, grab lunch, enjoy Coors Light on special. It's 97.5 The Fanatic Sixers playoff roundtable and pep rally starting Thursday, 10 a.m. Me, the Tunis, you guys live from McGillen's Old Ale House in the heart of Center City, presented by Coors Light. Let's go Sixers. For details, visit the events page on 97.5thefanatic.com.
More of the Anthony Gargano Show now.
On 97.5 The Fanatic.
Back live, Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. We still got some tickets, so come on by tonight's last game, the last home game. So we still got tickets to give away. We're going to leave them here at Chickies and Pete's, Tunis.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure that people can come get them and come on by, pick up some tickets, and go to the game. If you haven't been to a game, you know what? It's our gift to you. Just go and let them know that Flyer fans still care about this team. We're going to go back to the phone lines in a minute, but we got a special guest. So we talk about Flyers and just my all-time favorite hockey players. I love him. I wish he played his whole career here. He was the greatest, man. My main man. Great player, great dude, all around incredible analyst. He does everything. He is our good friend, JR, Jeremy Roenick. What's up, JR?
What's up, Anthony? How you doing, my buddy? I love that entry, and I do have to say you are one of my favorites of all time. So, but listen. I just got to tell you too. I just got back from the Masters, and I can't tell you how many Philadelphia Flyer fans that I met down there. And it was my arms are tired from hugging every single one of them. I swear to you, it was crazy. It seemed like all of Philly was down at the Masters, and I loved every bit of it.
How cool is that? Oh, my God, that's awesome. And then speaking of Philly, how about John Rahm tells us about the Zach Ertz text about the first green.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I was so happy for him, I know John, and I was very happy for him, and, it was an amazing tournament, and there's nothing like the Masters, that's for sure. And that was a pretty cool story, too.
That was, oh, my God. It was incredible. It was. Listen, I love Rahm, man. He's cool, man. He's he's special. And, I like my man Scotty Scheffler, too, who's a hell of a player.
Good people, just like yourself, my man. So what's happening? What's going on in Philly?
So I need you. You know what I need from you? I just need you to put it out in the universe and remind everyone what kind of hockey town Philadelphia can be.
Well, let me tell you, everybody tells me what one of my favorite places to play were, whether I was playing at home or playing on the road, and it was Philly. It's because the fans it's a different breed of fan, right? It's not your just everyday, rah-rah fan. These are the diehards. These are the people that will literally tell you exactly what they're thinking, and there's no nonsense about them, which is exactly what you want in a fan, because they're going to be with you when you're good, and they're going to be with you with your bad. But when you're bad, they're going to let you know about it. And I love that passion. And there's nobody that roots harder for their teams than Philadelphia fans. Without question, it is the most passionate, one of the most heartfelt areas in all of sports. So, you know, obviously the Flyers have had some tough times over the last couple of years, but I think the mentality, and I think John Tortorella is a guy that can bring that mentality back of what is Philly known for. They're known for the Broad Street Bullies. They're known for being one of those teams that are tough to play against, tough to physically, 60 minutes of hockey where you know you're going to go into that building and you're going to feel a little bit of pain. And I think these young kids have to do a little bit of research and realize what Philadelphia is really about and the roots of what it is to be a Philadelphia Flyer. When you get that, you're going to change the atmosphere and you're going to change the core of the team, and you're going to get different results.
Well, it's funny because you got this town right away. It was one of the rare cases where someone comes in and especially a guy of your ilk, an incredible, great player, and you came here and you got it like right off the bat. There was like you felt like you were almost symbiotic.
Well, you know the story. You know the story when I signed and I hugged Mr. Snyder after I signed with the jersey on, which kind of took him by surprise too. But it showed you how excited I was to be in Philly. But one of the first questions that was asked of me by the media is, "Do you feel nervous about coming into a city where the sports media and the pressure is so high packed, and it could be very hard criticism?" I'm like, absolutely not. I said, this is where I'm going to thrive because I play the game the way that Philadelphia Flyer fans cheer, and I can handle the media. That's not the problem. For me, it was like a perfect place for the way that I played. So I told the media should be more afraid of me than me afraid of them.
You never know when JR is going to throw a snake at you.
Or something, that's for sure.
It's the truth. It's 7 years to the day that Ed Snyder passed away. And tonight's the home game of the season. And I wanted to do this Flyers town hall because, it's kind of sad, JR, that the last few years they've really fallen into irrelevance. So I have 2 boys, 2 sons, 13 and 10, Anthony and Massimo. And I was sitting down to play NHL 23 with my youngest, and I go, "All right, who are we going to be?" And he goes, "I'm going to be my favorite team." And I go, "All right, you're the Flyers." And then he goes, "No, I'm going to be at the Edmonton Oilers." And I had to stop him, JR. And I was like, "Dude,
oh boy,
no, man, Massimo, there's no way you're going to be the Edmonton. They're not your favorite team." And I had to give him a lesson about staying with your team during good times and bad times, JR.
Yeah, there's no question about that, but I think Connor McDavid will sway a lot of people because of how good this kid is, and everybody wants to be that. So I kind of understand that aspect. But I will say one of the best things that the Flyers have done over the last few years is hire Danny Briere to run this team, because Danny Briere is one hell of a smart hockey mind. He's been in the game and has gone through building a team in the minor leagues. He was a Philadelphia Flyer, so he knows what it means to be a Flyer in that locker room. And he knows what type of players that team is going to need to kind of bring back that Flyer mentality. So I just thought that was a fantastic hire with Danny Briere. I love him to death. Obviously, his career was very strong, and he was one hell of a player and a leader. And I think he's gonna be able to piece this together over a few years. Because nothing against Fletcher and all these guys, but Danny Briere, a guy that has been there and played for that team, that knows what it's like to be in that room when Mr. Snyder came in. That's the mentality that has to be brought back into that locker room and with the Flyers.
How do you build it? Like, it's interesting. You see the success of expansion teams that come in and, Vegas, what they've done, the Kraken come in and, and all of a sudden there's success. And, what's some of the things that you have to do to build a winner in today's game?
Well, you need all certain types of players, right? If you try to build with one type of player, it's going to fall on its face. Mm-hmm. And you have to have those A, B, and C players. You have to have good leadership. Number one. If you don't have good leadership, then it's chaos in the locker room, which is exactly why the Boston Bruins have been so good this year, because their leadership between Marchand, with Bergeron, with that leadership crew up there, they make everybody accountable. And until the Flyers get somebody that has that prowess and has that leadership ability to drag other people in to play a certain way every single game, it's going to be hard. Like Seattle came into the league and all of them bought into the same thing that what happened with Vegas, right? These are all the guys that teams threw away, and they were disrespected. So you know what they do? They come in and they wanted to show everybody that they made a mistake. But it's a mentality, it's a conversation in the locker room, it's an attitude in the locker room that everybody has to buy into. And, you have your A, B, and C players, and everybody has to know their job, but everybody has to feel like they are a big part of that job. And, and I think Danny understands that. He will get guys that are the glue, the guys that are the guys that are a pain in the ass to play against. And I think he will find, because Philly's going to be a good place for guys to sign as free agents if, knowing Danny Briere is trying to build something different. Getting free agents shouldn't be a hard job for him, but it takes a mentality in the locker room, and it's a conversation, and everybody's got to buy into it. Right now, everybody's wishy-washy.
Yeah, and it's weird. We're talking to the great Jeremy Roenick, JR, one of my all-time favorites. It's odd, JR, because the success of the Flyers all these years have made Philadelphia a real, in this area, South Jersey and Philly and all around it, this area, a hockey hotbed. There is a lot of talent coming out of Philadelphia. A lot of kids, man. I mean, I see two kids from South Philly who are same age, and they're going to be on the scene. They're going to be drafted. There's a lot of talent. Tony D, of course, is here. There's a lot of talent that's coming from this area. It's ironic that now the Flyers have been dormant for a lot of years, but there's a lot of talent. The game is still, alive in Philadelphia, in this region.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Hockey came out of
yes.
there. And trust me, I played there as a kid. I played the little Flyers. I played in Mount, out there in a lot of the areas that a lot of these kids are growing up in, and it's great hockey.
Yeah.
But what the Flyers have to listen. The Phillies have done great. The Eagles looked great last year. They probably should have gone a little bit further. But what the Flyers don't want to get lost in the shuffle, and that's very important, I think, for hockey fans. And you don't want the Flyers to kind of think into the secondary tier. I see Philadelphia as the Eagles Flyers. That's not a Sixers, not a Phillies. It's a Eagles Flyers. That's how I've always looked at it, as the top two teams. But that mentality has to be, listen, we need to put a product on the ice where we're putting winners together so that we can stay one of the more favorite teams of that city, so that kids look at it and say, I want to be a Flyer, and we keep growing the game there. There's a lot of different reasons for players to play well in their cities, and it's not just because of their teams. It's because of the young kids that watch.
That's brilliant. The great JR. What are you up to, JR? What do you got cooking?
I got more on my plate than ever before. So I'm not doing any more television. That's done for me. I have too many businesses, and actually have a real job that I totally enjoy and have been having a blast with. It's wearing me out with the travel and entertaining aspect, but that's what I do.
That's what you do great, all right? You always do great. Forget about it. There's no one you'd rather have a beer with than JR. You are, man, I love you, buddy. You are the best, man.
By the way, Anthony, By the way, Anthony, if Danny Briere called me for a job tomorrow, I'd probably go. So pass on the word to him, okay?
Hey, I'm going to listen, when we get off the phone, I'm texting him. All right? I'm serious.
I love it. I love it.
You're the best, buddy.
So,
thank you, brother.
Thanks, buddy. All right, you're the
Take
best.
care of
Say hi to
yourself,
everybody.
man.
I love everybody in Philly. Thanks for having me on. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, buddy. The great JR on the Comcast Business Hotline, man. He is a treasure, Tunis.
Yeah, we played that clip earlier today in the vault. His OT goal.
Dude, JR was the man.
Yeah.
Right? So let me ask you a question. So you've been, you're here next to me the whole day today, and it's been a whirlwind of a show.
Yes.
And I'm just curious of your reaction because, you've heard all these stories. Now, we talk a lot about the Flyers. We talk about the history. Like, we talk about the past.
Yeah.
We talk about, because, it's relevant in that, there is people that talk about they were so good, and since they've been dormant, they've just been an afterthought, right? Lost. JR talked about, this Eagles and the Sixers and the Phillies. And, listen, to Thursday we're doing a Sixers show.
Yeah.
We got the draft coming up. Every day we're talking Phillies. Obviously Sixers all the time with the playoffs. And, this is the first day that we have talked prolonged hockey. And quite frankly, it's been tough.
Yeah, because what is there to say? You're disappointed with the organization, right? And it's terrible, and there needs to be change. And that's, you said it, the past, right? When you asked me earlier today, what do you think about when you think of Flyers hockey? My answer was the past.
Yeah.
And it's all kinds of things. And look, this is gonna sound bad. I still love them. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
Like, I still love them, but no, I've not been invested this year. I only watched a handful of games this season. Last year, I tortured myself and watched way too many. And I asked myself at one point, what am I doing? And it's because I love that team.
Yeah.
It's because I love all the teams here in Philly,
Yeah.
right? And it took me to kind of realize last year just how bad this is, where it's a Tuesday night, I have nothing else to do, and I'm putting on a Flyers game, and I'm realizing that I'm wasting my time. There could be a million other things that I could do to waste my time where I actually find joy out of it.
Like here's the issue. If they had a young core, right? It goes back. Everything, all roads go back to talent.
Yeah.
Like when you're building a team, you have to build something that's interesting, right? And the problem with the Flyers has been
there's no interest level.
They're not interesting. No. They have failed to get youth. I mean, the bottom line is, if you're going to be an interesting team, Philly already showed you that it'll ride with you on a rebuild. We always ride on a rebuild. We're used to the cycle. Phillies do well, right? And, and then they fall back. They're terrible. Get mismanaged by Clintac, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, you're back on the come again.
Yeah, game
right?
one of that series at home, or game three, but that series at home against the Braves, the packed house.
The process.
Right.
I mean, that speaks for itself.
Sam Hinkie's still a god for some people in this city.
We celebrated draft picks and draft lotteries and all this other stuff and played armchair GM and went away and went along with it because you could go watch transcendent talent. Let's face it, the minute Joel Embiid's on the floor, when he first comes on the floor, however immature or whatever, you went, oh my God, this dude's amazing. Like this dude's got incredible talent.
Yeah,
and you knew, and you weren't expecting a parade, but you went along for the ride. This Flyers team, you got on guts.
Yeah,
you got nothing.
I remember
there's no talent.
It's funny. We had Dave Roberts and David Boreanaz on, and they were talking about the first Flyers game that they went to, and they were sitting at the very top of the spectrum with the roof against their head, pretty much. I did the same thing for Embiid's first game because that was I got to get there, and I had no money, and look, I got to get there.
Right.
So I found every penny that I had, in the couches to try to buy a ticket to go see Joel Embiid because I'm finally going to see this guy that I've heard about for years. And legit, right? Like the Flyers and the Phillies. I'm not just ripping the Flyers here. The Flyers and the Phillies are the best salesmen for their prospects. They make them seem like the next Gretzky, and the next Babe Ruth when they come up. And they usually always fall short, way short of expectations. But they don't even have that guy that you're kind of excited for.
No.
Like, who's the guy in the Flyers system right now?
I mean, seriously.
Cutter. Like, that's it. And he's still a long ways away.
Right. I mean, you got very little to work with. And that's why this year was so important. And they just flubbed it.
Yeah.
And historically mismanaged this year.
Yeah. I mean,
in every which way.
They talked about having a plan. I don't think that plan was actually.
Unless there's a stroke of, luck from the hockey gods.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's a lottery ball. That's a ping pong ball, right? They had the worst plan and then never even came close to executing that plan, which was the aggressive rebuild or the aggressive retool. To me, you're trying to be aggressive, you get a Johnny Hockey, right? And I know that Chris Therien said earlier.
I wouldn't have done it, but again.
I would have just because, all right, now you got life. You breathed life into Philadelphia.
I mean, but the correct way. I mean,
the correct way is blow it up. But
right,
when their plan was aggressive retool,
right?
Then you go get a star player.
Yes.
Not Tony DeAngelo.
Well, with Tony DeAngelo,
right? But that's not like the piece.
If
right?
you were going to do that with Tony D, you could have did that. But my point is, the script was already written for you. Say whatever you want about the Sixers, and they're still in the playoffs every year with a chance, right? Like they have a real chance to get back to the finals or get to the finals. And again, you got to face Boston in the second round. We know the deal, but they turned a no chance situation, and they had no chance for years. Into now you got shots at the title.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that the Celtics also got star players right around the same time.
It's not even the point that they have. It's more that you become a legitimate contender. Hickey, the Eel said it, and I agree with him when he talks about you just got to play a numbers game, and you got to give yourself enough shots at a title.
Yeah.
Like once you get to this threshold, so the Sixers go from, and listen, they made a myriad of mistakes.
A ton.
All right? A myriad of mistakes. At the top of the list is who you're playing in the first round. You know what I mean? Not for nothing.
You're not talking Ben Simmons.
No. We're going to talk every day when we talk about this series coming up against Brooklyn. We will talk every day about Devon's cousin.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges, man.
I don't want anyone to say his name.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I love him. I don't want to say his name because I can't believe that he was here and Brett traded him. I mean, it's still.
Zaire.
I mean, to this day, I still go.
We're star hunting.
What the bleep? What are you doing? I remember
the next
in
Kawhi,
my car going, what are you doing? Why? No.
Zaire's next Kawhi.
Whatever, right?
The kid
whatever.
is a baller.
Kid is a baller.
Jimmy Butler, right? True. The mistakes are myriad. However, they still are a legitimate contender. They have whatever it is, the fourth highest odds, right? The fourth highest odds in sports in the NBA to win the title. So you got a shot. And that's my point. And that's what the Flyers need to do. They've needed to bite the bullet. Somebody like the JVR, the Hayes, look at the money. Forget about the lack of drafting, right? Look at the money that they just put out for just mediocre talent. 7 years for Hayes.
Yeah, that's a problem. I'm pulling up right now the Flyers contract breakdown just to see who the highest paid players are for this team. So if we're going 2023, your highest paid player is...
my man Jerry L says he was, he's worth it at one point. and listen, he was a decent player, but he wasn't a transcendent player worth that contract. And that's my point. I'm not saying he stinks, but again, he's a piece that you like, but he's not a center. He's not a foundation star. They haven't had a star, and Giroux was a low-end guy. They haven't had a real star since freaking 88. They haven't had a transcendent talent since Lindros.
Dude, these guys are locked up for a while, too.
Yeah, the contracts
for a long time, man.
Just, horrid. Horrible. And, like, you just completely missed it. Like, you turn on, it's amazing, that sport. Like, you turn on game. You just saw Boston the other night.
Yeah.
And you just saw the Pasta Man. They sat out 6 of their regulars, and they scored 5 goals. and it wasn't the goalie's fault.
No, they're just that talented.
They're rockets. They're ridiculous, that Bruins team.
They're 3-4 lines deep.
And it just pains me that it's, of all towns, it's freaking Boston having this epic season. And they are. I can't say anything. They're mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah, and the Flyers aren't even close to mesmerizing. I mean, who's the guy? If you put on a Flyers game, you go, I want to watch him play today. The closest guy is Provorov, and he's not going to be here any much longer.
Well, he's gonna fall through the ice. I mean, when you lock that much ice time.
Right.
My God.
He's Fletcher Cox before they get Sue and Joseph.
Oh, my God.
That's it.
So my issue is, I look at this team and I just go, it just needs to be liberated. And look, Dan Halford looks like a great guy, and, good Philadelphian, the whole thing. But what's the difference? He's just another suit. Like, you gotta. I can't. If he was the owner himself, then maybe.
Right.
And I still don't, like, you can't convince me that a corporation owning a sports franchise is a good thing. You just can't. It's just because it's not. Because ultimately, you got 3 things to answer to, right? Your board, your shareholders, your stock price. That's the bottom line truth.
Yeah, and that's why they try to figure everything out to make the money.
But that's the bottom line truth.
Investing gritty.
Again, and it's funny because it's true. Like, I resent gritty.
I do too, actually.
I hate that mother father.
I do too.
I'll be honest with you. I hate that mother father. I like my man Black Gritty.
Yeah.
All right? He's my Gritty. All right?
# my Gritty.
It's true. All that attention for that stupid thing. I want to hit it with a bat, that suit.
Yeah, he kind of.
Not the guy, but the suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get it with a stick and go with a slap shot and just over the top, like one hand over the top of the head. I can't stand it because it's about that stupid mascot, not about the team itself. And it's forsaking the fans.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I keep going to it. Liberate them. Listen, I tell you, I'm a Comcast subscriber. I haven't cut the cord. I love Comcast. All right? It's a great Philadelphia company.
You just don't love them running your team.
No. I want John Middleton. All right? I want Jeffrey Lurie.
Yeah.
I want Josh Harris or David Edelman, who was born Philadelphian, who would be an incredible owner. Or, Michael Rubin can't because of the casino thing, but a guy like him, like these people, those guys are Philadelphians, singular people.
And they care.
You have a couple partners and you go in and you write the check for $1 billion change.
Yeah.
All right? And those guys, that's it, Gruss. You got a spare $1 billion? and
You get my checkbook.
Yeah, you got it. And that's what will work, right? Because that provides the support. That provides listen, John Middleton, God bless him, worth a lot of money.
Yeah, worth a lot of money, but he also puts his blood, sweat, and tears into that team.
Well, that's my point is that, he's used to succeeding, right? Like that, like he's going all in. Jeffrey Lurie, he got the private jet going to look at quarterback.
Right.
That's commitment.
That's awesome.
That's what I need. I need to go burn the Jet A.
Josh Harris, 18 coaches next
right,
to Doc Rivers.
You need another coach? Go ahead, hire him. All right, well, that's it. Thank you, guys. The Flyers tickets remain here at Chickies and Pete's. Come get them, all right? Make sure we love you guys, all right?